Chapter 476. Yi didn't say anything as she digested every word Jiang Zhao said. So today's meal wasn't simple. Was he trying to help her? This was too sudden. The benefits were too great. She smiled and asked, "How should I thank you?" His thin lips curved meaningfully. He lowered his head and buried his face in Yi's chest, rubbing her soft breasts with his nose. He said softly and ambiguously, "What do you think?" Yi was puzzled. Since Jiang Zhao said that she was going to be with him, why didn't he just keep her as a mistress like other people? He should have at least said something like, "I don't want you to work at that kind of place," like Min Zikai did. He didn't do anything. At night, she changed into her waitress uniform and went to work at Peerless Beauty. Yi held a bottle of red wine in one hand and a cloth in the other. She carefully wiped the dust-free bottle of red wine. Her mind wandered. With more than a year of experience in society, Yi instinctively felt that something was wrong with Jiang Zhao helping her. Could it be that Jiang Zhao wanted to use her? Impossible. What could he use her for? Jiang Zhao received a call from old Master Qin that night, so he drove his A8 to the Qin family's old mansion. The Qin family's old mansion was a traditional Chinese courtyard house. It was divided into a front yard and a backyard. The backyard was for the guests, and the reception was in the front yard. Old Master Qin was wearing a silver-gray button-down shirt. He sat on the sofa in the living room next to the main hall. His hair was already white, and even his eyebrows were slightly gray. He fanned himself from time to time, exuding a sage-like aura. The moment Jiang Zhao entered the living room, he saw Tsang Tingting holding Grandpa's arm and chatting. Grandpa wouldn't ask him to come and see Tsang Tingting, right? Grandpa didn't seem like such a boring person. Tsang Tingting still looked virtuous. When she saw Jiang Zhao, she stood up and asked the servant to make a cup of coffee for Jiang Zhao like the mistress of the house. Jiang Zhao laughed heartily. "Grandpa, it seems that I've been deeply influenced by you. I always think that tea tastes better." Tsang Tingting's snow-white face instantly flushed red. "Zhao Zhao, Tingting is just being kind." Old Master Qin tried to smooth things over. "Come and sit here. I have something to tell you." Jiang Zhao answered and sat down on the other side of Old Master Qin. Old Master Qin called a servant. "Quan, take Tingting to the garden to have a look. It's a miracle that the orchids I planted last month are alive." "Grandpa, I'll stay here to accompany you." Tsang Tingting knew that her grandpa wanted her to leave, but she didn't want to leave. She also called him Grandpa like Jiang Zhao did. "Tingting, that orchid wasn't supposed to be planted in this season, but Grandpa helped it survive. Don't you think Grandpa is amazing?" Tsang Tingting knew that she could not force him, so she could only leave resentfully. "Zhao Zhao, an old friend of Grandpa's is coming to visit tonight. He said that he wants to see you." Old Master Qin's expression froze. He looked up at the big clock on the wall and seemed to be a little depressed. "About 10 o'clock. See me. The Shi family in the south. You must have heard of it." Jiang Zhao frowned slightly. The Shi family in the south? Grandpa's old friend? He has been in High City for more than 2 years, and Grandpa just mentioned it? "Yes, I've heard of it. It has developed rapidly in the past 2 years. I didn't expect that he is Grandpa's old friend." "He is an old friend of both your grandpa and Ruerue's grandpa, old one." "His roots are so deep? He also has a relationship with Grandpa Wen?" "Jiang Rue's grandpa used to be the richest family in Jiangzhou." "Yes. It's just that the 4 of us have taken different paths. I didn't tell you before because I felt that some things were too sensitive. Grandpa wanted to protect you too much and hoped that your future would be smoother." Jiang Zhao felt that the situation was serious because Grandpa would not frown from time to time even if his tone was serious. He put the blue and white porcelain teacup on the table into Grandpa's hand. "What's the sensitive thing in this?" Grandpa lifted the lid and took a sip. "My old friend's surname is not Shi. 12 years ago, he was the biggest underworld boss in Asia. You must have heard of Lei Zhentian. Although you were only 17 years old at that time, you must know who he is now." Jiang Zhao could not help but frown. "Change his surname?" Grandpa sighed with some regret. 12 years ago, there was a mole around him. The enemy killed the Lei family. In the end, only he and his grandson survived. He was also afraid of cutting off the bloodline of the Lei family, so he changed his surname and tried to clear his name. But even if he didn't say it, I also know that such a big underworld force can't be completely cut off. I've already used the excuse that you have something to do and rejected him many times. But Zhao Zhao, when your grandfather was young, he was also a hot-blooded and righteous man. In the past, we were friends who had gone through life and death together. We can't just refuse to see each other just because you said so. You can only grasp the propriety of this. Moreover, in the path of politics you have to deal with different people. Yes. Grandpa, I understand. At this moment, a car horn sounded outside the mansion. After a while the butler, Uncle Wu, walked over and said respectfully, "Old master, the guests have arrived." Jiang Zhao got up and helped Grandpa out of the living room. They stepped out of the main hall and walked on the blue stone path towards the main door. The red lacquered door of the old Chinese-style mansion opened with a creak. 3 people walked in. The old man in the lead was full of energy. On his left was a burly man in a suit who carried a few expensive gift boxes. The handsome young man on the right was particularly outstanding. He had a beautiful and fair face, a slender figure that didn't seem frail, and his eyes were clear and untainted, as if he wasn't tainted by the secular world. The leading old man walked to old Master Qin's side and patted his shoulder heroically. His voice was loud and clear. "Old Qin, you've also started to dress like this and pretend to be refined. Look at you, I've learned bad things from you. Remember to call me old Mr. Shi." Haha. Grandpa Qin was not angry. "Old Mr. Shi? You're still so rude even after learning so much. Don't tell others that I'm your teacher." Jiang Zhao and the young man stood at the side and laughed. The young man bowed politely to Grandpa Qin. "Hello, Grandpa Qin." Grandpa Qin quickly helped the young man up and looked at old man Shi. "Old Shi, this is Unwu, right?" The more he looked, the more satisfied he was. Look, this is more like what I taught." "Ha." Jiang Zhao also bowed to old man Shi. "Hello, Grandpa Shi. What era are you in? You still need to be so polite. Look at Zhao Zhao. He's so handsome and manly. Unlike Unwu, he looks like a weak scholar." "Ha." Old man Shi helped Jiang Zhao up. Although he said that, his hearty laughter told everyone that he was very happy. The young man looked at Jiang Zhao and nodded politely. When he smiled, the smile melted into his eyes. His eyes were clean and bright like the warm sunshine of early spring. He extended his right hand and shook it like a gentleman. "Zhao Gu, I'm Shi Unwu. Nice to meet you." Jiang Zhao shook Yunwa's hand and patted him on the shoulder. "Nice to meet you too. I'll come here often." Unwu always spoke politely and gently. "I'm just afraid I'll disturb you." "How's that possible? Let's go in." As they walked into the living room, the 2 old men bickered with each other. Old man Qin was wearing a Chinese-style jacket with buttons on the front. His trousers were also loose silk. When he walked, his footsteps were light and gentle. His scholarly aura was very strong. However, when he spoke, he did not sound scholarly at all. "Old man Shi, don't tell me that you came up with the name Unwu." Old man Shi snorted and said, "If I didn't come up with it, did you? Grace and blessings, blessings and blessings, blessings and blessings from the heavens. Have you ever studied? I'm afraid you don't understand such profound logic." Old man Qin snorted. "I've studied more books than you've eaten salt. Among us, you're the only one who doesn't study." Old man Shi asked indifferently, "Oh, then have you seen Naruto? It's very popular. Have you seen it?" Old man Qin's eyes widened. "Naruto? Fire, what is Naruto?" Jiang Zhao and Unwu looked at each other and couldn't help but laugh. Unwu raised his hand and whispered in Jiang Zhao's ear, "I'm the one who read that comic." Actually, Grandpa only saw the name on the cover and said that I didn't learn and only knew how to read children's books. Ha! Jiang Zhao shook his head and smiled. Was this really the old Lei Zhentian? It was too unbelievable. He whispered to Unwu beside him, "After seeing your and my grandfather's, I'm really looking forward to the scene when Grandpa comes to Haiqing to celebrate Grandpa's birthday next month. That scene will be even better." Yunwa's eyes shone with warmth. "Really? Then we'll have a good show to watch at Grandpa Qin's birthday." Song Tingting originally thought that old man Qin had sent her away to talk to Jiang Zhao about her. She didn't know that he was meeting guests. He didn't take her seriously at all. But weren't there guests here? She thought about the purpose of her visit today. Yes, purpose. She had hired a private investigator, and he had indeed taken a photo of a woman today. That woman was the daughter of a damned economic criminal. She had gotten into his car at the Academy of Fine Arts and even had a meal with him. She wanted to use the photo to question Jiang Zhao. Was it not because of her father that he could become the deputy mayor? What did he dislike about her? She wasn't any worse looking than Yun Yi. Jiang Zhao had almost forgotten about Tsang Tingting's existence. However, when he saw Tsang Tingting walking towards them like a hostess, he realized that there was actually a woman in this world who was even more thick-skinned than Yun Yi. However, this kind of thick-skin method was different. Yun Yi had never taken the initiative to jump out and annoy him. She was thick-skinned to please him. Although that kind of shameless fawning was very fake and overboard, it always revealed a kind of adorable vigor. Wasn't Tsang Tingting's sense of propriety too much? She was either excessively dignified and reserved, or excessively unreasonable. Yun Yi was, at most, a wall on top of a wall. She would fall wherever the wind blew. Tsang Tingting was a serious polarization. The gap between the rich and the poor was too big. This was a serious social problem, and it was worth paying attention to. But Feng Yu didn't want to pay attention to her. If he did, he would be looking for trouble. So he chose to ignore her. At this time, Tsang Tingting felt that she was being slapped in the face in front of everyone. She was the beloved daughter of the provincial party committee's secretary. Jiang Zhao had to be polite to her father. Why was he being so arrogant? Jiang Zhao, let me ask you. How long had the woman in your car been with you? Don't try to deny it. I had taken a photo, and the photo is in my bag. Don't make me ask you in front of so many people. I don't think Grandpa wants to hear her name at all. Tsang Tingting stood on her tiptoes and whispered into Jiang Zhao's ear. Jiang Zhao's face turned cold. He avoided everyone's gaze and glared at Tsang Tingting. When he turned to look at Unwu and Old Man Shi, his face was still full of smiles. Grandpa Shi, Unwu, I'll send you guys off first. Unwu politely declined. Grandpa Qin, Brother Zhao, I'm disturbing you guys so late. Don't send us off. Rest early. Jiang Zhao still insisted on sending the guests to the car. The driver went to the garage to pick up the car while they waited at the entrance. Unwu smiled and chatted with Old Man Qin the whole time. Tsang Tingting stood beside Jiang Zhao and snorted. Who does Yun Yi think she is? I've warned you before. Be careful that I don't kill her. When Jiang Zhao and Unwu heard this, they both turned to look at her. Add, Song Shu 566. Chapter 477. Jiang Zhao's eyes were filled with warning. He knew that Tsang Tingting was deliberately putting pressure on him. Otherwise, she would complain to his grandfather. This was the reason why he didn't like her very much. Since she was young, she had never been skilled in complaining. She never knew how to be tactful. Yunwa's eyes were filled with confusion. This girl was really something. She looked gentle but her words carried a lot of weight. Who was she going to kill? He didn't hear clearly. At this moment, the Shi family's chauffeur had already arrived at the entrance. It was a luxurious Lincoln. The butler opened the back seat door for them. The smile on Jiang Zhao's face froze when he saw the car drive out of the small road. Old Master Qin's face suddenly darkened. All of you come in. Jiang Zhao treated Tsang Tingting like a big brother playing with a little sister when they were young. Ever since she started having feelings for him, Jiang Zhao would avoid her if he couldn't afford to offend her. At most, he would mock her or ignore her. This time, he was glaring at her fiercely. Tsang Tingting pressed her chest, not daring to move. Jiang Zhao said in a low voice, Tsang Tingting, I'm warning you. If you dare say a word in front of grandfather, I'll let you know the meaning of regret. The summer night was very quiet, especially when the housekeeper and servants saw that their sage-like old master was actually angry. No one dared to make a sound. In the main hall, Grandfather Qin sat on the main seat. Sit down and speak clearly. Tsang Tingting looked carefully at Jiang Zhao who had already sat down. She remained standing and asked softly, Grandfather, what did you say? Say what you said just now. Who were you going to kill? Tsang Tingting panicked. No, Grandfather Qin said. Tingting, Grandfather will be frank today. Although the Qin family started out as a business, and Zhua Hao and Jiang Zhao are both my grandchildren, Grandfather has never treated them as outsiders. They are all the treasures of the Qin family. They are in the military and politics, so they can't afford to offend people. Leaving the Qin family aside, if Grandfather Zhao Zhao hears what you said, I'm afraid he will have a bad impression of you for the rest of his life. Sang Tingting didn't dare to say anything else. Grandpa, I'm just saying. It's Zhao Gij who's been ignoring me, so I said that on purpose. Tingting, you've been following Zhao Zhao around and calling him brother since you were young. I've always treated you like my granddaughter. You have to know your place. You should know what you should say and what you shouldn't. If word gets out, how will Weigua deal with you? Grandpa. Sang Tingting was at a loss. Old Master Qin didn't ask her why she said that. Instead, he kept blaming her. What did he mean? Granddaughter? Wasn't she his granddaughter-in-law? From the beginning to the end, Jiang Zhao never looked at her. Even when Old Master Qin kindly called the butler to send her off, Jiang Zhao never came out to send her off. He didn't even ask her for a photo. Was he so sure that she wouldn't spread the photos? So when she was driving, she still gave him a call. Jiang Zhao, do you believe that I'll let people know tomorrow that you're with the daughter of an economic criminal? The man on the other end of the phone said disdainfully, I wonder what it's like to be a businessman. I'd like to give it a try. Then, the man's voice suddenly deepened. With a hint of viciousness, he said, I can tell you her address. Don't you dare lay a finger on her. Sang Tingting, don't blame me for not telling you clearly. Since she's with me, she's mine. From now on, I'll teach you a lesson even if there's a scratch on her skin. Jiang Zhao hung up the phone and returned to the main hall. He sat down on the side seat. Old Master Qin didn't have the seriousness he had when Sang Tingting was around. He softened his tone and said, Zhao Zhao, I've always thought that you're easy to manage in our family. Unlike Fian, who only knows how to piss me off. Can't you let Grandpa stop worrying? What's the name of the daughter that Tingting mentioned just now? Grandpa didn't hear clearly. Jiang Zhao thought to himself that it was a good thing that he didn't hear clearly. Ha, Grandpa, can't you let me keep some secrets? Men need private space. Old Master Qin snorted in dissatisfaction. What if it turns out to be like Fian in private? Are you going to ask Grandpa to vomit blood? Fian will return to the right path one day. Old Master Qin sighed. He's not on the right path. He wants to play around. I'll let him be for now. At this point, his tone suddenly became heavier. He snorted and said, but in a few years if he doesn't give birth to a son with the surname Qin, I'll strip him naked and hang him at the entrance of Haiqing's toll booth. Jiang Zhao's facial features were masculine and handsome, but at this moment, his smile was exceptionally soft. He stood up and walked behind Old Master Qin to massage his shoulders. Grandfather, I suddenly don't want Fian to return to the right path. I don't know if you mean stripping her naked. Do you mean stripping his underwear as well? You child. Haha. Old Master Qin placed his hand on the back of Jiang Zhao's hand and patted it dotingly. Zhao Zhao, Grandpa knows that you don't like Tingting's domineering personality, but she's still the daughter of the provincial party secretary, Zhang Weigua. If she goes overboard with some things, Weigua will feel that we're not giving him face. Our family doesn't need to fear anyone, but there's one point of view that I share with your grandfather. It's not good to have big grudges or small grudges. Only by doing business amicably can we make money and prosper. The next time that girl pesters you again, your attitude should be slightly better. I've made Grandpa worry. I'll take note next time. Jiang Zhao left the Qin family's old residence, his mind thinking about Zhang Tingting's words. His heart was in a mess. That girl was very dignified outside, but once she was away from everyone, she would do anything. Since there was a private investigator, would there be someone who specially followed Yun Yi? What if she was followed? No, he had to go and take a look at the peerless beauty. Yi Er didn't get to wait for Zhang Tingting's coercion. Instead, she was forcefully kissed by Min Zikai. During this period of time, Min Zikai had been sent abroad by his mother on a business trip. He ran over as soon as he got off the plane. He caught Yi Er and dragged her to the corner of the emergency exit to kiss her madly. Yi Er felt that she was too powerful. Last time when she wanted to make a deal with Min Zikai, he wanted to kiss her, so she let him. But wasn't her matter already settled by now? Moreover, Jiang Zhao seemed to be involved in her father's matter. She didn't need him anymore. Since she didn't need him, Why should she let him take advantage of her? Let go of me! Yi Er almost shouted, but she was afraid that people would laugh at her, so she could only push him with all her might. Min Zikai wasn't willing to let go of her. He had missed her for so long. Hugging her in his arms, a kiss wasn't enough. He tightened his grip on her. Yi Er, although I'm not in the country during this period, I got someone to buy you an apartment. I've already settled the company matters. Your brother's matter will be settled soon. I don't need your help with my brother's matter. Yi Er had promised Mother Min that she wouldn't tell Min Zikai about their conversation, but she didn't want to explain. What do you mean you don't need my help? Yi Er, I love you. I'll treat you well in the future. I won't leave you alone again. Really. Let me take care of you in the future. I won't let you suffer anymore. As for Zhang Zhao, he got someone to ask Director Lin the moment he arrived at the Peerless Beauty. Yi Er had already gone out to deliver drinks. He came out to ask a few more people from the service department, but they all said that they didn't see Yi Er. He thought of Zhang Tingting's arrogant personality and the harsh words she said. He was anxious and unbearable. He was afraid that Zhang Tingting would act rashly and take him away, doing something irreversible. Along the way to the emergency exit, he saw a touching scene of people from the Qing dynasty hugging each other tightly and confiding in each other. There were many touching words and vows of love. I love you. I won't leave you alone again. I won't let you suffer anymore. Tui. How disgusting. They could film bitter Korean dramas. Zhang Zhao wanted to leave. After all, nothing had happened to her. The old Qing dynasty people here were like firewood burning with passion. It was normal for old feelings to rekindle. It had nothing to do with him. But when he thought about it again, why does this have nothing to do with him? This woman even slept with him last night. Just now, he was afraid that she would be killed by someone, causing him to worry for nothing. She actually dared to run to such a place where even ghosts couldn't find her to have an affair with her ex-fiancé. Did I disturb you? Zhang Zhao immediately got rid of the dark clouds on his face and put on a fake gentlemanly smile. He stood beside the wooden door and looked handsome. When Yi Er heard Zhang Zhao's voice, she panicked and almost lost her balance. Min Zikai hugged Yi Er and turned around. He was also surprised to see Zhang Zhao. How could he forget who was the one who carried his fiancée up to the 6th floor that night? Also, Yi Er had told him that they had gone on a date. Min Zikai was handsome and looked gentle. But when he looked at Zhang Zhao, there was hatred in his eyes. So, Deputy Mayor Zhang Zhao also came to this kind of place to observe the situation? Actually, other people would not call Zhang Zhao deputy, unless the mayor was in front of them. But Min Zikai purposely called him deputy. It was obvious that he was provoking him. But Zhang Zhao did not mind. He was a deputy mayor. But the most important thing was that none of the deputy mayors were younger than him. So, he did not feel uncomfortable. What he was angry about now was Yun Yi, that damn woman, still dared to stay in Min Zikai's arms. Yi Er could sense the murderous look in Zhang Zhao's eyes. Although she had only met him a few times, they had been intimate before. She was good at observing people's facial expressions. How could she not know that Zhang Zhao was angry? If this young master was angry, she would be the one in trouble. Yi Er analyzed herself clearly. She had multiple personalities and multiple personalities. When she met a wolf like Zhang Zhao, she had to hold her breath and pretend to be dead to escape. When she met a boy who liked to draw, she could act like an innocent girl without any pressure. When she met Min Zikai, she could throw a tantrum and do whatever she wanted. Anyway, he would listen to her. Taking advantage of Min Zikai's distraction, she pushed him hard and jumped out of his arms. She ran past Zhang Zhao and ran. Zhang Zhao saw Min Zikai was about to chase after Yi Er, and he grabbed Min Zikai's shoulder forcefully. But there was a smile on his face. Young Master Min, I had just met Mrs. Min 2 days ago. She is very worried about you. Min Zikai's face changed. He shook off Zhang Zhao's hand and massaged his shoulders. Deputy Mayor Zhang, you don't need to worry about me. After saying that, he turned to leave. Add, Xinwu 799. Chapter 478. Zhang Zhao patted his cufflinks and said calmly, seems like I am overthinking. I wonder what Mayor Chen will do when he finds out that family Min is still messing with the Yun family? Min Zikai gritted his teeth and turned to look at Zhang Zhao. His eyes darkened as he said, "You. Are you threatening me?" Zhang Zhao had been treating everyone nicely since the start of the conversation. "Young Master Min, you misunderstood me. I am not threatening you. I am just reminding you." Min Zikai said, "I will take care of Yi Er's matters. No one can threaten me." Zhang Zhao clapped his hands. "So, young Master Min is such a great person. You are even willing to abandon your family for a woman. It's fine if you are the only one suffering, but why do you want to implicate your family? It's hard to imagine what will happen if Mr. and Mrs. Min go to jail." Min Zikai could tell that Zhang Zhao was his love rival. "Deputy Mayor Zhang, you are in a good mood. What does family Min and Yi Er have to do with you? You are an outsider. You are not related to family Min or Yi Er. Why do you have to worry about this?" Zhang Zhao's face darkened, and his smile disappeared. "Sorry to disturb you. It's such a pity that I am about to witness the downfall of a big family." Zhang Zhao left Min Zikai behind and called Zhuang Yichen. Zhuang Yichen happened to be at Zhao Jun. Zhang Zhao entered the private room and sat down an arm's length away from Zhuang Yichen. He poured himself a glass of water and gulped it down. Zhuang Yichen joked, "Why don't I fire Miss from Yun University, so that our mayor won't have to stay up all night waiting for someone to warm his bed?" Zhang Zhao thought that it was impossible to hide this matter from Zhuang Yichen, so he said lightly, "No need. Just tell her to get off work before 11 every day." Zhuang Yichen glared at Zhang Zhao. "You're too oppressive. What time does the nightclub open? She gets off work before 11 o'clock. Why don't you ask me to pay her directly? It's too much for me to support your woman." Zhang Zhao snorted. "My salary is too little, and you have a lot of money. It's not right if you don't help me take care of my woman." Zhuang Yichen snorted. "Why don't you tell me how much you can get from the Qin Group's shares every year? And what about the 2 companies that are not registered under your name? I'm a miser. I don't want to take a single cent, okay?" Zhang Zhao thought back to the Shi family members he met at the Qin family's estate and sighed. "I'm here because I have something I need your help with. 12 years ago, the head of Asia's underworld, Lei Zhentian, disappeared into thin air. These are the secrets of the underworld. I'm sure you'll be able to find out soon. You want me to help you take care of your woman, and you want me to help you investigate this matter. I think it's really necessary to cut ties with you." Zhang Zhao had already stood up. He took a small box from the princess bar and put a key and a community access card into the box. He glanced at Zhuang Yichen and said angrily, "After cutting ties with me, you want to be with Fei Yan? You're such a fickle man." "Haha, forget it. I'll just live with you. Fei Yan's taste is too strong. I'm afraid I'm not good enough for him." Zhang Zhao laughed. "Smart people understand when you think about it. There's no limit to communication." Zhuang Yichen couldn't help but laugh. "You're shameless." When Yi Er received the small box from her mother, Manager Wang, she was lying on the table doing statistics. She opened the box and knew that it was sent by Zhang Zhao. Zhang Zhao likes her? At least he likes her body now. But what if one day he doesn't like her anymore? Will he still help her with her father's matter? Seeing that Manager Wang still hadn't left, Yi Er's mind turned. The best person to grasp a man's mind was a woman who had been through hardships. She put the box on the table and put on a sweet smile. She stepped forward and took Manager Wang's arm. "Sister Wang, I want to ask you something." Manager Wang's eyes were sharp. Last time when Yi Er fainted after drinking, it was the mayor who personally sent her to the hospital. Just now the higher-up said that in the future, Yi Er could get off work at 10:30. Such special treatment. There must be something strange. It was not appropriate for anyone to ask about the background. Yi Er finally expressed her goodwill. She heaved a sigh of relief. "Go ahead." Yi Er looked around and asked softly, "How do you make a man work for you wholeheartedly?" Manager Wang was overjoyed when she heard this. She almost taught her everything. Make him fall in love with you while he is still fresh. But it's too extravagant to talk about love with a man. It's more reliable for a woman to ask for something practical while she is still young. Yi Er listened attentively. Talking about love was too extravagant, but she didn't believe it. Wang Daji had already turned the tables on the goddess, Dong Jia. She, Yun Year, was once a fair, rich, and beautiful woman. She couldn't possibly lose to Wang Daji, right? She must get Jiang Zhao. Today was the earliest day that Year had ever gotten off work, and it would always be at 10:30 p.m. in the future. She knew that this was all arranged by Jiang Zhao. She went home and packed 2 sets of clothes, then took a taxi to the apartment in the north of the city. After taking a shower, when she got into bed, Jiang Zhao was already asleep. Year tore off the towel on her body and hugged him from behind. Her chest was pressed against his broad back and her soft little hands were on his chest. Her little mouth landed on the back of his neck and she called out softly, "Ah Zhao." Jiang Zhao was a very vigilant person. When Yi Er came back, he was already awake. He was angry at what he saw at the exit. He wanted to leave her out for a while. But he was worried that a girl of her age wouldn't have much self-control. If he didn't interfere, she would have slept with her ex-fiancé. His heart instinctively minded that kind of messy relationship, so he asked Zhuang Yichen to get someone to send the house key to her. Even so, he couldn't change his policy of leaving her out. In the end, she pressed herself against him naked. He still wanted more of her body, so how could he stand her teasing? What's going on with Min Zikai? He tried his best to suppress the rising lust in his body, and pretended to be serious as he asked. He just came back from abroad and wants to get back together with me. But aren't I with you now? I already rejected him before you came. Ah Zhao, what happened today was my fault. If I had more strength, I would definitely have been able to push him away. Yi Er reached out to turn on the bedside lamp. She hugged Jiang Zhao's neck and extended her slender arm in front of Jiang Zhao. She pouted and said pitifully, "Look, he's bruised my arm. When I was bathing just now, I was shocked. If I had gone along with him, I wouldn't have ended up in such a sorry state." Jiang Zhao frowned and turned over the woman's other arm to take a closer look. That's right, it was blue and purple. How much strength did he use? Fortunately, it was only on her arm. The mark on her chest was left by him. If he saw a fresh mark, he would really teach that stinky brat who didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth a lesson. It seemed that he had hit her quite hard in the past. But even if he could bully her, it didn't mean that others could. He then looked at the naked little bunny on the bed, pouting her lips, her eyes glistening with tears. His heart softened, and he hugged her in his arms, kissed her smooth forehead, and softly coaxed her. "Be good, don't be sad. I'll avenge you." Yi Er climbed up the pole and hugged Jiang Zhao again. Her little face looked like she was holding in a lot of grievances. She said angrily, "Do you still believe me?" The man dimmed the bedside lamp again. He moved his mouth closer to the woman's ear and said in a low and hoarse voice, "I really want to find a school for your little brother to go to once a month." Yi Er thought to herself, "My little brother, you bastard." But she didn't dare to say it out loud. Her voice was still soft. "I'll get off work early from next week onwards. I'll come over whenever you miss me, okay?" "Okay." When he squeezed in, Yi Er suddenly took a deep breath. "Ah Zhao, gentler. Don't." "Gentler?" The man's forehead was covered in sweat. He squeezed the woman's waist forcefully to relieve the pain caused by slowing down. What a little vixen. The next day, Yi Er woke up early in the morning. Jiang Zhao had just washed up and came out of the bathroom when he saw Yi Er putting on her bra. He walked behind her and buttoned it for her. "Why didn't you sleep in a little longer?" Yi Er turned around and put her hand on Jiang Zhao's shoulder. "I have to go to the media college early to look for the Xiaqian you mentioned. I have to pick up my brother in the afternoon." Jiang Zhao helped Yi Er adjust her shoulder straps. Leaning on the seductive bra, he forced himself to look away and looked at Yi Er's face. "If you manage to get a date with Xiaqian, you'll be able to get her sister, Qiu Xiaoye, on your side. Although Qiu Xiaoye isn't Xiaqian's biological sister, she's a sister you really dote on." "Qiu Xiaoye? One of the top 10 beauties?" Yi Er looked at Jiang Zhao's shirt, cuffs, and buttons. Then she thought about the pile of custom-made clothes in his wardrobe. Oh right, the logo was a faint YA. Almost all the celebrities in Haicheng had custom-made clothes. She didn't know who started this trend. A large portion of Jiang Zhao's wardrobe was made by Qiu Xiaoye. How were they related? Was he that woman's crazy fan? Could it be another woman of his? Damn pervert. A certain girl felt a little uncomfortable. Her little mouth twitched, and she looked unhappy. Why did you pull her in? Xia Qian wants to be an outstanding and righteous media person. Qiu Xiaoya isn't a lawyer. Don't tell me you're going to ask her for custom-made clothes to give to someone else? Zhang Zhao couldn't guess what the little girl was thinking. He only felt that this girl was too stupid. He reached out and flicked Yi Er's forehead. Idiot. Pulling Qiu Xiaoya in is naturally to protect you. Yi Er shrank back in pain. She rubbed the space between her eyebrows and said unwillingly, she's just a designer. How can she be so capable? Zhang Zhao looked at Yi Er, who was only in her underwear, nestled in his arms. His body heated up. It was early in the morning, and he still had to go to work. He felt annoyed. He reached out and picked up the t-shirt that Yi Er had thrown on the bed to wear. He foolishly put it on for her. Yi Er pulled it over and put it on herself. She heard Zhang Zhao's analysis. She's a 25-year-old woman. Although she graduated from a professional school, she only graduated 3 years ago. She only went abroad occasionally and didn't get a design degree overseas. She slowly went from an unknown person to appearing on various shows and winning all sorts of awards. She's so young, but she already has her own custom-made clothes. Her family background is average. Do you really think she climbed to where she is today with her own efforts? That's a lie for an exclusive interview. Anyway, if you drag her in, the person behind her won't sit idly by. If he doesn't want to hurt Qiu Xiaoya, he'll naturally take you into consideration. Otherwise, there are media people everywhere who want to create explosive news. Why would I pick Xia Qian for you? Welfare Song Shu 566. Chapter 479. Yi Er immediately dismissed the idea that Qiu Xiaoya was Zhang Zhao's woman. Although she knew that Zhang Zhao was right, she couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. Why couldn't the man behind her just sit back and do nothing? He was also in the same bed as her. Why could he control the situation calmly from the side and not stand up to help her? Why did he want her to go around asking others for help? At first, she just wanted him to be by her side to give her pointers so that she wouldn't go off on the wrong path again. Now, she felt more and more that she needed a man by her side. Their way of thinking was exceptionally rational. She was clearly at a loss, but when the man gave her pointers, she would be enlightened. Even though she had already received the benefits she deserved. But now, she was starting to feel unsatisfied. Yi Er and Xia Qian's first meeting was quite pleasant. According to Zhang Zhao, she provided Xia Qian with several newsworthy events. Xia Qian was very grateful to her. After dating for more than a month, the two of them often met. Xia Qian, with her pear flower permed hair, looked beautiful and pure, but she couldn't speak. If she did, her true nature would be exposed. Perhaps they were all young children and could play together easily. Zheng Ling was too precocious and would consider many things. She felt completely different from Xia Qian. Yi Er felt that if she was the cloud in the sky, then Xia Qian was the rising sun in the summer. She was full of vitality and gave people the feeling that it was almost noon and she was going to explode. She was full of passion for life and hope for the future. Her positive attitude towards life infected Yi Er all the time. When Xia Qian told Yi Er that she wanted to go to a nightclub to experience life, Yi Er was stunned. Xia Qian told Yi Er again that she wanted to go to a nightclub to experience the life of a rich woman and a gigolo. When Yi Er heard that, she was dumbfounded. She didn't have any experience, but she was a loyal person. So she said, I'll invite you tomorrow after I get my salary, okay? If she wanted to invite her friend to a gigolo, the PR fee had to be paid to Zhang Zhao at night. But it would be too embarrassing to say this in public. Xia Qian said confidently, Why would I need you to treat me? My sister has a lot of money. She's definitely more familiar with those places than we are. I'll call her later and ask her to take us there. Yi Er finally knew that Zhang Zhao did not lie to her. Her younger sister wanted to experience being a male prostitute, and as her older sister, she readily agreed. This was not pampering. This was simply spoiling. At night, Yi Er officially asked for leave, but he didn't dare to go to Peerless Beauty. Most importantly, he was afraid that Zhang Zhao would find out that Peerless Beauty was his base. Night fell, and neon lights rose into the sky. When Yi Er saw the real-life version of Qiu Xiaoya, he suddenly felt that he and Xia Qian were too rural. Although his clothes were a little old, they were still high-end brands. Big-name items wouldn't go out of style so easily. It wouldn't be a problem for him to wear the clothes he bought a year or two ago. Needless to say, the mint green dress she wore today was elegant and classy. Zhang Zhao was a generous man. He always gave her clothes, and they were all branded goods that were dignified and appropriate. But was Qiu Xiaoya out to kill her and Xia Qian, these two idiots? Shouldn't a gigolo be more low-key? Did she have to dress like a celebrity who was going to walk the red carpet at Nausicaa's Golden Girls? She held a shiny silver handbag and wore a small black dress with a bare back. It was definitely a high-end 3D cut. Her short black hair was 2 centimeters below her ears, revealing her beautiful swan neck. The dress revealed her slender legs, and the black heels that were at least 10 centimeters tall brought out the aura of a queen. This woman was so beautiful that there was a kind of seduction in her bones, but this seduction was not frivolous at all. Because Yi Er was Xia Qian's friend, Xiaoya was especially affectionate with her. Xia Qian went up and held Xiaoya's arm. She reached out and touched the smooth snow-white beauty's back. She joked, "Sis, aren't you afraid that a man will come over and ask you how much you're dressed like this?" Xiaoya rolled her eyes at Xia Qian and gave her a look that said, "What a joke. If I give him a price, he'll choke to death. Can he afford it?" Yi Er couldn't help but laugh. "Sis Xiaoya, what if he says, 'Beauty, you can name any price you want?'" Xiaoya bent down sneakily and hugged the two children's shoulders. She huddled together and whispered, "Then I'll see if he's handsome or not. Then I'll ask him, 'Handsome, how much are you for a night? Name your price. Don't be afraid, I'll be very gentle with you.'" Although Yi Er had been with Zhang Zhao for a long time, she still couldn't help but blush when she heard such bold words. But Xia Qian could actually laugh so shamelessly. Xia Qian had told her that she didn't have a boyfriend and that she still had her first kiss. Could this be the legendary Fujoshi? Alright, with a sister like this, she must have been a Fujoshi. At the elevator entrance of the high-end entertainment club, the men waiting for the elevator all had their eyes on the 3 women. They were pure, elegant, and sexy. They were much prettier than the women in the club. Yi Er felt uncomfortable with so many eyes on her. She turned to glare at the perverted fatty beside her and spat fiercely. "What are you looking at?" "I'm here to spend money." The man instantly felt awkward. Xiaoya couldn't help but laugh. She clenched her fist and punched Yi Er's chest. "I admire bold women like you. You should be like this." "Haha." Yi Er glared at Xiaoya bitterly. She covered her chest and muttered, "If you hit me, my future husband will definitely fight it out with you. You're so annoying." Xiaoya reached out to rub Yi Er's chest. "Find a handsome guy to rub it back for you tonight." Yi Er slapped Xiaoya's hand away. She pretended to be angry and shouted, "Get lost." Yi Er looked at Xiaoya. She suddenly wanted to know what kind of powerful man was behind her for her to be able to live so freely. The group entered the elevator. A black Lincoln slowly drove into the car park outside the club. The driver parked the car. He tilted his head slightly and said respectfully, "Young master, we're here." Unwu sat in the back seat. He glanced out the window with a cold gaze. "Okay." He then asked, "Have you informed everyone?" The man in a black suit sitting in the front passenger seat nodded. "Young master, we've already informed everyone. Miss has all arrived at the club early today. We'll go to the lounge now. They probably haven't gone to work yet." Unwu sighed. "Okay. Let's go in first." For the past month, he had been painting and waiting for people at Wutong Street during the day. At night, he spent almost all his time at various nightclubs. How good would it be to be like before? He didn't care about anyone and everything. He didn't allow his emotions to fluctuate and he didn't ask about other people's jobs without thinking. What was the point of asking? She was suffering and he was suffering too. Ah Zong had asked him several times who he was looking for, whether he had a name, a photo, or a portrait. He would help him look. He wouldn't tell anyone where the person he was looking for appeared, what her name was, or her portrait. That was his private collection. No matter what she did, he didn't mind, but it didn't mean that others didn't mind. She minded too. Otherwise, she wouldn't have gone looking for him for so long. In the past, she would go looking for him every few days. It was because he knew about her unbearable past that she didn't want her painting anymore. She threw him away just like that and never appeared again. Every time he arrived at the club, he would go in to look for her himself. He wouldn't let anyone follow him. He wouldn't let anyone around him watch her leave the lounge of such a place. It looked like a high-end club, but Mrs. Lounge wasn't comfortable at all. It was a big room, and the decorations were minimal. There were benches for resting, and the glamorous figures shuttling between luxury rooms didn't exist here. All kinds of women sat in indecent positions. There was no such thing as the most lewd jokes, only more lewd. Occasionally, she would be impulsive and curse a few times. Unwoo had stood at such a door countless times. He always reminded himself that perhaps this was the last time. He would definitely find her. Yunwoo's arrival undoubtedly made the women in the club jump. Where did this handsome young master come from? He was fair, beautiful and bold. The pretty women wanted to test the waters. However, before their slender hands could touch the quiet and beautiful boy, they were stared back by his eyes. The women were shocked. They thought it was an illusion. How could it be? The boy who had been standing at the door and walking slowly between them seemed to have been possessed by a demon. His eyes were as pure as water, and he looked elegant and refined. But all of a sudden, there was a murderous aura around him. The women slowly retracted their hands. Their expressions were a little embarrassed, but they didn't dare to look at the boy anymore. This was the first time Yi-er sat on the sofa like an empress. She crossed her legs and held a glass of wine to choose handsome men. Her father used to dote on her, but he would never let her come out to play like this. Later on, when she worked at the nightclub, she was only a waitress. The difference between them was like heaven and earth. But to be honest, although the men in front of her were good-looking and tall, she felt that something was missing. Compared to Zhang Zhao, they weren't handsome enough. They didn't have a strong presence. They didn't have an air of nobility. Not to mention their masculinity. In short, the difference was huge. Xia Qian sat between Yi-er and Xiao Ya. Xiao Ya said to Xia Qian, Qian, after this experience, what do you want to write about? Sis, I changed my mind last minute. I want to write a headline for tomorrow's news. What headline? Yi-er tilted her head and asked. Xia Qian snapped her fingers in front of Yi-er and glanced at Xiao Ya. Top 10 beauty designer Xiao Ya went to a nightclub to have fun. She got lost and didn't know how to return. Xiao Ya was excited when she heard this. Her queenly demeanor was gone. She was only a little mischievous. Qian, did you bring a camera? If you want to make the headlines, take a beautiful picture of me. Wait until I find a handsome man. Yi-er looked up at the sky. Oh my God, why didn't she get to know these two beauties earlier? Then she wouldn't have to care so much about her reputation in the past. Zhang Zhao was driving when he received a call from Zhuang Yichen. He answered the car phone and Zhuang Yichen's voice echoed in the car. Brother Zhao, I didn't expect you to use such a method to trick me. Zhang Zhao rested his palms on the steering wheel and tapped his fingers on it. Haha, Yichen, this is also a requirement of the game of chess. Zhuang Yichen's voice sounded like he couldn't hide his laughter. Although I don't know how you found out about Xiao Ya, there's something you might not know. Her relationship with me has expired. She's now with her first love, Kong Iyun. I called to provoke you. Xiao Ya is now leading her sister and Yun Yi to Golden Dynasty to find male prostitutes. She's almost done drinking. Beauty novel, Xinwu 799. Chapter 480. Zhang Zhao tightened his grip on the steering wheel as he listened to Zhuang Yichen continue to speak leisurely. Xiaoya is careless and doesn't take anything seriously, especially money. For the sake of having fun with her sisters, she spends a little more money and finds a few more men to give to her friends. Everything will definitely go smoothly. Zhang Zhao stopped the car on the side of the road, pressed the 2 jump lights, and stared at the car phone. After a few seconds of calming down, he said faintly, then let them have fun today. Yunyi only needs to find someone who dares to poke the hornet's nest. Since it's a game of chess, of course, we can't destroy the chess pieces at will. Zhuang Yichen said coldly and quickly, goodbye. Then he hung up the phone. Zhang Zhao looked at the streetlights in front of him and raised his hand to press between his eyebrows. He grabbed the phone and dialed Yi-er's number. The number you have dialed is not in the service area. Please wait. You really don't know the difference between life and death. As soon as he stepped on the accelerator, he immediately stepped on the brake. No, he couldn't panic. He didn't believe that Zhuang Yichen called him today just to provoke him. Zhuang Yichen wanted him to go to Golden Dynasty and get her out, didn't he? Reap the benefits without doing anything? Qiu Xiaoya and Zhuang Yichen had been secretly dating for 3 years. Zhuang Yichen had never mentioned it to the outside world. They had never even spoken in public. Zhuang Yichen had always been cautious. He never let the enemy catch his weakness, even if it wasn't a weakness. However, Zhuang Yichen had never mentioned Qiu Xiaoya to him, just as he would never take the initiative to mention Yi Er to anyone. Although he and Zhuang Yichen were buddies, he had helped Zhuang Yichen a lot, and Zhuang Yichen had also helped him clear a lot of obstacles. It could be said that they treated each other with sincerity, but when it came to benefits, they were very clear about it. Neither of them was willing to leave an opening for the other. Their cooperation had always been mutually beneficial. Zhuang Yichen had always been ruthless and merciless. If he wanted to use Yun Hongwei's matter to topple the Zhuang family, he was afraid that Yi Er would be implicated. When the time came, he would not be able to bear the consequences. He could ignore the others, but he could not bear to do that to Yi Er. It was not easy to get hold of Qiu Xiaoya. Zhuang Yichen would think twice before making a move, and he could also protect Yi Er. However, today's blunder made him uneasy. Jiang Zhao could not get through to Yi Er's phone, and there was no news from Zhuang Yichen. He felt that he could not sit still any longer. He went to Peerless Beauty because no one knew that the boss behind the scenes was Zhuang Yichen. They also did not know that the deputy mayor and Zhuang Yichen were secretly in contact. The private room was directly connected to the garage, and it was very secretive of their relationship. But even at such a luxurious place, he had never ordered a woman to sit at the bar, including Zhuang Yichen. He was the boss of that place, and he had never ordered a woman to sit at the bar. Zhuang Yichen knew that Qiu Yelan had applied for leave today, and he thought that Qiu Yelan would go to Chongbei condominium earlier to accompany him. This damn woman! If she dared to fool around with other men behind his back, he would skin her alive. But Qiu Yelan was only 19 years old. How could she resist the temptation of the outside world? Qiu Yelan was still young, and she was curious about everything. She was King looking for trouble for him all day long. Jiang Zhao's handsome face was gloomy. He gritted his teeth and stepped on the accelerator again. Unwu came out of Mrs. Lounge at Golden Dynasty. He could only feel disappointed again. He had also asked Mrs. Mother, but no one had started the audition yet. He had also received a notice last night that Miss did not have to pay the audition fee today. Today was the day when everyone was present. With both hands in his pockets, Unwu sighed habitually. His bodyguard, Zong, hurried over. "Young master, how is it?" Unwu said calmly, "It's fine. How many entertainment venues have we not been to in Haiqing? In the past month, we have been to hotels, discos, slow bars, small bars, clubs, and nightclubs. There are about 4 or 5 of them. Do you want to take a look at the brothels in the suburbs?" Unwu felt that his patience had been worn down bit by bit over the past month. If he continued to wear it down, it would be completely broken. He lowered his head, closed his eyes and raised his hand to rub his temples. After visiting these 4 or 5 places, we will go to the suburbs." Zong said worriedly, "Young master, if old master sends people to look for us, it will be much faster." "Do you want to?" Unwu immediately interrupted. His temper was still as good as before. "Zong, you just need to be responsible for my safety according to Grandpa's instructions. You don't have to report anything else to him. Go back. Grandpa will ask about our whereabouts again in a while." Yi Er felt that she was not even as good as Xia Qian. The handsome man taught Xia Qian how to play dice step by step. They were very open about punishment. Xiaoya was even bolder. She sat on the handsome man's lap and the two of them drank wine. It was too embarrassing for her to sit in such a place like a virgin. Although she disliked the cowherd for being dirty, she did not have to make it so obvious. It was not easy for him to earn some money, was it not? Yi Er used to frequent bars. Dancing, dice, and drinking were not a problem for her. Soon, the atmosphere became lively. When they were done, Yi Er danced happily with the cowherd. She was a little drunk. The cowherd was very professional. He was afraid that she would fall. Not only did he hold her hand, but he also hugged her waist. The guests were having a great time, but no one knew that there was a hidden camera installed in their private room. Zhang Zhao did not know about it at first. It was only when Zhuang Yichen's peerless beauty started to play that he realized that these bosses were too unscrupulous. Zhuang Yichen looked at the surveillance screen. His cold and handsome face did not change. However, his tone towards Zhang Zhao was not as friendly as before. He did not even use the words, "Brother Zhao. Call someone to close down this place. I will take care of the rest." Zhang Zhao was not in the mood to care about this. What about the rest? He would probably have to chop off the hands of those cowherds. He was too lazy to care. Chop off hands? Drag them out and feed them to the dogs. Golden Dynasty was suddenly reported to have people playing karaoke, powders, pills, and other prohibited products. The door of the private room was opened. The police came in and took away the cowherds. Only 3 women and a police officer were left in the room. Xiaoya was the calmest. Xia Qian had never been caught playing outside. It was inevitable that she was nervous. Yi Er was afraid of what would happen if Zhang Zhao found out about this. Xiaoya stood up and walked in front of the police officer. She saluted him playfully and said in a soft voice, "Uncle Police, do you want us to go with you? If not, we will leave first. Is that okay?" When Yi Er saw that Xiaoya had taken the lead, she gave Xia Qian a look. The 2 girls also walked in front of the police officer. Bang! They stamped their feet and saluted him. They said in unison, "Hello, Uncle Police." The police officer was obviously trained. It was useless to act coquettishly. "You can't leave." After that, no matter how Yi Er and the girls served tea, the police officer did not even look at them. He simply went outside and locked them inside. After at least an hour, it seemed that the police had left. There was no movement outside. The 3 of them were just about to leave when the door opened again. The person leading the way was Zhang Zhao. The person who came in a little later was Zhuang Yichen. Both men did not look happy. Yi Er thought to herself, "Oh no. Does Zhang Zhao have a washboard in his house?" But when Zhang Zhao came in, he did not walk towards her. Instead, he walked towards Xiaoya. He stood still and said coldly, "Miss Chiu is considered a big sister here. Shouldn't you be a good role model for the kids? Are you trying to learn bad things from your sister?" Xiaoya bowed to Zhang Zhao and stood up straight. She smoothed her short hair and said with a smile, "Thank you, Mayor, for your advice." In front of Yi Er was Zhuang Yichen's tall figure. He looked at her coldly and said, "You are so young and you already know how to be bad. I wonder what you will become when you grow up." Yi Er sighed. Why was this man at odds with her? If he did not want to kill her, he would scold her. She straightened her back and raised her chin proudly. "I have already grown up. I am 19 years old." The luckiest one was Xia Qian. No one cared about her. Yi Er felt strange. Why did Zhang Zhao not scold Sister Xiaoya? Even if he wanted to scold her, he should be scolding the main culprit, Xia Qian. Why did Zhuang Yichen and Zhang Zhao not know their priorities? Yi Er avoided everyone's gaze. When she got into Zhang Zhao's car, her beautiful eyes were smiling as she called out sweetly, "Ah Zhao." Zhang Zhao started the car and warned himself not to do anything rash outside. "Yunyi, you are very bold now." No, Xia Qian insisted on experiencing life. Zhang Zhao had a faint smile on his face, but there was no trace of a smile in his eyes. "Shirk responsibility? You are getting better." Yi Er looked at Zhang Zhao and became even more afraid. "It's really not that. I am not lying to you. Didn't you ask me to find a way to get to know Sister Xiaoya? I went with them for the sake of PR." Zhang Zhao suddenly turned the steering wheel and pulled the car to the side. He stepped on the brakes so hard that Yi Er almost hit her forehead. Zhang Zhao's voice became louder. "I asked you to get to know Xiaoya. Did I ask you to learn how to be a gigolo?" Yi Er could not care less. She buried herself in Zhang Zhao's arms and refused to come out. Okay. Go ahead and scold me. I know I am going to die today. Just scold me to your heart's content. I am already very grateful that you didn't scold me there just now." Zhang Zhao felt that it was too difficult to communicate with this woman. He reached out and held her face in his palm. He pinched and lifted her head, forcing her to look straight into his eyes. Yi looked at him and couldn't help but tremble. He was like this when he was extremely angry. His eyes were filled with viciousness and coldness, and his facial features were especially stiff. Looking at him, his lips were opened and closed in anger. Scolding you in front of outsiders? Then everyone will come and see how pathetic you are after I scolded you? Everyone will laugh at you? Am I crazy? Isn't humiliating my own woman the same as slapping my own face? Do you think I haven't been humiliated enough? Yi's heart suddenly jumped. What did he say? In front of outsiders? His woman? Wasn't she an outsider? Come and see. Xinwu 799. Chapter 481. She lowered her chin and her lips landed on his palm. She kissed him gently, her soft tongue licking his cleavage. Then she held his hand and placed it on her face. She said softly, "Ah Zhao, I really didn't do it on purpose. I didn't go overboard. I just danced a little. At first, I didn't like him. He's not as handsome as you, and he's not as manly as you. We're not on the same level." At that time, I saw that Sister Xiao Ya and the others were having so much fun and felt that it wasn't easy for them to earn some money. I was afraid that they would think too much, so I did a good deed. I'm still young, and I've never played this kind of game before. Just treat it as my first offense. Don't blame me. A great man doesn't hold a grudge against a petty person. Forgive me, okay? I promise you, there won't be a next time. Yi only knew that Zhang Zhao liked docile girls. In any case, whenever there was a slight dissatisfaction or annoyance, she would use this kind of coquettish method to please him. Usually, she would be able to get away with it. It was just that she had to put in more effort to please him in bed. The small mouth in his palm kissed him, as if a small pet was licking his palm gently. It was wet and itchy. It was so numb that his pores stood up and his back stiffened. His big and small brains were filled with charming and gentle scenes. His rationality was about to collapse in this car. Sometimes when he thought about it, it was better to do business openly. If someone took a picture of him having sex in the car, then so be it. It didn't matter. It seemed like the saying that if one were to die under a peony, one would still be a romantic ghost. Fortunately, his self-control was strong enough. Otherwise, he would definitely tear off the layer under her skirt, pull her over and press her down on his body, and push her hips back and forth. He started the car and pretended to be calm. Don't think that this matter is over. I know it doesn't count. When we get back, you can punish me however you want tonight, okay? You're the one who said it. Yi thought that this matter was finally over. She nodded like a chick pecking at rice. Yes, I promise I won't go back on my words. When they got home, Jiang Zhao calmed down from the wind. The moment they entered the house, he threw Yi into the bathroom to take a shower. The dress that she had worn out that night was thrown into the trash can. Yi's heart ached. Although she had a lot of new clothes now and they were all bought by Jiang Zhao, she still couldn't bear to part with them. After that, Jiang Zhao flipped Yi over so that his back was facing him. You can't stay idle if you don't cause trouble for me. Yi felt that her ears weren't working too well. Jiang Zhao's tone sounded like he was reprimanding her, but it also sounded like he was doting on her. Feeling the numbing kiss on her back, Yi couldn't help but gasp. Sorry. Jiang Zhao only hated when this woman would learn more. She was much more experienced than her peers, but once she fell into the hands of a scheming person, she was like a little white rabbit, waiting to be slaughtered. At that time, he was afraid that she would talk too much because she was young, so he didn't tell her about the relationship between Qiu Xiaoya and Zhuang Yichen. He didn't expect that this relationship would still be exposed. What if Zhuang Yichen warned Qiu Xiaoya not to let them interact with each other? If he didn't drag Xia Qian into this and Qiu Xiaoya wasn't involved in Xia Qian's matter, would Zhuang Yichen sacrifice Yi as well? But with Zhuang Yichen's suspicious personality, it seemed like he wouldn't tell anyone about himself. If he told Qiu Xiaoya to be wary of Yi, then it would be obvious that he was telling Qiu Xiaoya something obscure. Qiu Xiaoya had been with him for so many years, so it would be easier for her to understand him. Yi suddenly remembered something. She flipped over and sat up. She looked at Jiang Zhao in surprise. Sister Xiaoya is Zhuang Yichen's woman? Zhang Zhao pulled Yi Er into his arms again. "You're not too stupid," Yi Er said. Oh. No wonder Zhang Zhao and Zhuang Yichen were so similar. Did they feel that it was embarrassing to scold their own woman in front of outsiders? Did they think that scolding someone else's woman was enough to vent their anger? What a freak. But she could say that Zhuang Yichen was a freak, but she didn't dare to say that this man was a freak. Because she couldn't afford to be hurt. I was wondering what I did to offend him. Did he think that I was the one who took Sister Xiao Ya to fool around? I feel so wronged. Xia Qian was the one who suggested this. She said that she wanted to experience life so that she could have a deeper understanding of society. Zhang Zhao curled his finger and knocked Yi Er on the head. Seeing Yi Er frowning, he rubbed her head. Anyway, no matter who's right or wrong, you should reflect on yourself. But don't mention anything about them to anyone. It seems like Xia Qian doesn't know either. From now on, you must learn to stuff everything you see or hear into your stomach. Otherwise, Zhuang Yichen might find a chance to kill you in the future since he didn't kill you last time. Yi Er hurriedly covered her mouth and pretended to be frightened as she burrowed into Zhang Zhao's arms. She knew that Zhang Zhao would never let Zhuang Yichen do that. She also knew that Zhang Zhao liked her to be this way. He liked her to be a little weak, a little stupid, and a little innocent. So, she had been acting the way he liked. She had to get him. Her goal wasn't just to get her brother. She also wanted her father to be released from prison safely. So, if she wanted him to continue caring about her matters, she couldn't let him lose interest in her. Ah Zhao, you like me, don't you? Yi Er had been waiting for the man's deep and mellow voice, but all she heard was even breathing beside her ear. But this kind of breathing in her ears meant that he didn't want to answer her stupid question and chose to pretend to be asleep, leaving her with a way out. To Zhang Zhao, he liked a life with rules and regulations, and it was best if these rules and regulations were set by him. Even if he didn't set them, he would use his own methods and abilities to achieve a tacit understanding. His philosophy had always been that only the strong could work with him. For example, Zhuang Yichen had a strong background and abilities, and he was calm and wise. When working with someone like that, he could get twice the results with half the effort and wouldn't lower his own standards. But when it came to women, he liked gentle, pleasant, generous, and decent women. That way, he could lower his guard and feel more relaxed when interacting with them. His original intention wasn't to remove all of Yi Er's thorns. It was just that in the beginning, because of her stubbornness, he had conquered her out of revenge and suppressed her perverse personality. But Yi Er was someone who knew how to survive. In different environments, she could always find a way to live that suited her. Zhang Zhao felt that Yi Er was very sensible. Sometimes, this kind of precociousness made people feel bad. He always wondered if he should treat her a little better. She was still so young, but she followed him like this. Yi Er was woken up in the middle of the night by the tossing and turning. Her instincts told her that Zhang Zhao was awake again and was definitely going to do something big with her. In her days, she just habitually catered to him. Her two legs wrapped around his waist, and with her eyes closed, she hooked her arms around his neck. Then she raised her head to find his mouth to kiss. Slap. Her butt was slapped so hard that even Zhou Gong was scared away. She opened her eyes wide and looked at Zhang Zhaojing, who was lying on top of her. What was going on? He didn't strip her naked like before. Instead, he wore a shirt around her neck. Little fox, I say, you haven't reached the age of a wolf yet. Why are you so thirsty? Zhang Zhao lifted Yi Er's arm and stuffed it into his sleeve. He smiled mischievously. Little fox, do you want it again? Yi Er was stunned. Just as she was about to speak, her other arm was stuffed into her other sleeve. He pulled her shirt down and said, Why are you so addicted now? How did you spend Friday to Sunday? Yi Er buried her face in the blanket. She was so ashamed that she thought Zhang Zhao wasn't satisfied when he helped her put on her clothes. What are you talking about? I thought you were. Zhang Zhao pulled Yi Er out. What about me? It's not that I want to criticize you, Yuni, but you're really the best when you're sleeping. It's fine if it's summer, but the weather is getting colder now. Don't you feel cold with your hands outside every day? Yi Er thought for a moment. Sometimes I dream that it's snowing and it's a little cold. I just can't find a place to hide. He pulled her into his arms again. It's impossible for you to change this habit. Remember to wear long sleeves when you sleep at night. I got someone to buy you a few. You can bring 2 back this week. Why are you so good to me? I've said it before. I can't mistreat you when you're with me. There are many things that I can't think of that you can mention to me. Anything is fine. Zhang Zhao felt that it was quite dangerous to be with Yi Er like this. He wasn't a stingy man. He would give whatever he could to a woman who had a physical relationship with him. But Yi Er never took the initiative to ask for it. When he bought clothes for her, she would wear them. When he gave her jewelry, she would accept it. He thought that she would at least ask not to work at Peerless Beauty, or go to college while she was still young. Or she would ask for a house or a car. He could satisfy all of her requests. The more she didn't want these materialistic things, the more he felt that she was ambitious. For example, some of her ambitions were outside of his normal rules. What if I want Dad to be released from prison as soon as possible? Zhang Zhao smiled. Indeed, she was a woman who knew how to endure. She didn't want it, but it didn't mean that she didn't need it. It was just that the things she needed couldn't be given just because he said so. What if I say that I won't save your dad for you? Yi Er's heart sank. She asked, Then why would you save my dad? Zhang Zhao's gaze also darkened. He paused. For myself. Zhuang Yichen was doing it for himself. He was also doing it for himself. Yi Er was with him for herself. Every one of them was doing it for himself. However, he didn't want to say it out loud, but he couldn't seem to find any other words to replace it. Yi Er was silent for a moment. Then she asked calmly, Then what do you need me to do for you? Zhang Zhao frowned slightly. His hand, which was holding the back of the woman's head, froze slightly. Then just like Yi Er, he said calmly, I need you to tie Xia Qian, Qiu and Xiaoya to your side. That way, you can keep Zhuang Yichen in check. This was the only way that Zhuang Yichen wouldn't hurt her. Yi Er turned around. With her back facing Zhang Zhao, she gently exhaled the air in her chest. She didn't dare to make a sound. She didn't want him to hear her emotions. No wonder he took a liking to her and gave her pointers. It was because she was also a pawn in his game. Everything was so coincidental. Perhaps her father's incident happened to be part of his game and was the key to bringing down the other party. She really wanted to say that it was fate. To hell with fate. No wonder he wanted to get to know Xia Qian and Xiao Ya. Xia Qian worked in the media and was a child. She was impulsive and didn't consider the big picture when she did things. She only knew how to uphold justice and could cause a lot of trouble. Welfare, Song Shu 566. Chapter 482. If Qiu Xiaoya was wrapped in it, Zhuang Yichen would protect her because Qiu Xiaoya spoiled her sister. He, Zhang Zhao, would be able to treat everyone as cannon fodder and fight in the vanguard. He would be able to sit back and reap the benefits of the battle. Zhuang Yichen's weakness was Qiu Xiaoya, so he had her under his control. Yi Er cursed Zhang Zhao in her heart. One day, he would meet his nemesis. She would let him have a taste of being a cannon fodder. She never thought that Zhang Zhao was a kind person. Therefore, it was reasonable for him to play politics. What's more, he was born in the political field. If he didn't know how to play politics, wouldn't he die? However, it turned out that the person who was on the blind date was so utilitarian. When he exposed everything, he felt so uncomfortable. Yi Er turned around, hugged the man, and kissed him hard. Then, she took off the clothes that he had put on for her and threw it off the bed fiercely. Yi Er looked at the man and hugged him. After this, Yi Er watched Zhang Zhao go into the bathroom and fall asleep. She said in her heart that if Zhang Zhao dared to ask her to take a shower, she would bite him to death. She would bite him so hard that he would never be reincarnated. She didn't wait for the man's urging. In the morning, Zhang Zhao was woken up by the phone. It was his cousin, Yi Er. Seeing that Yi Er was still sleeping soundly, he went out of the bedroom and went to the living room to answer the phone. He pulled open the big curtain by the floor-to-ceiling window. At this time, the sun hadn't come out yet. Behind the clouds, there was a little golden edge. He cleared his throat and answered the phone. He said with a smile, "Brother, it's so early. Are you missing me with an empty stomach?" On the other end of the phone, Jiang Rui said to someone, "Xiang Xiang, don't bring so much food. Mian Mian can't finish it." Then he said to Zhang Zhao, "Yes, I want to bring my family to your place for breakfast. Zhang Zhao said with disdain. Don't come. I'll pick up sister-in-law and Mian Mian. You're an eyesore. Zhang Rui laughed. The main purpose of my life is to make you suffer. Because your existence makes me suffer. If you don't let me live, I won't let you live either. So I must go. Zhang Zhao turned to look at the bedroom door. He was afraid that his voice was too loud. So he went to the kitchen and closed the door. Fine. You're shameless. I'm a reserved and open-minded person. I won't argue with you. And Mian Mian. I'll bring sister-in-law and my Mian 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 in my place. And you'll stay in the hotel. Zhang Rui snorted and said, I won't let Xiang Xiang and our son stay in your house. They will see some scenes that are not suitable for children. It will affect their physical and mental health. Zhang Zhao snorted. Their physical and mental health has long been destroyed under your influence. Why do you have to pin such a big crime on me? I still want to lead them back to the right path. The two bickered for a while before Zhang Rui said seriously, It's Grandpa Qin's birthday. I'm having a headache thinking about the gift. Help me come up with an idea. Zhang Zhao pretended to be serious and said, Find a woman that Fian likes and send her over. Also, let them marry and consummate their marriage. Grandpa will bow to you. If you have another child, Grandpa might even kneel to you. Zhang Rui sighed. Gosh, I really can't afford such a big gift. But even if I can, I can't do this. If I want an old man to kneel, I'll be struck by lightning. I still know how to respect my elders. Translator, Atlas Studios editor. Atlas Studios. A phone call early in the morning, from Zhang Rui to Xiang Wan to Mian Mian screaming, Ah! The main idea of the whole process was that it was Grandpa Qin's birthday and the Zhang family's relatives wanted to come over in advance. When Yi Er woke up, Zhang Zhao told her about the matter and asked her to pack her things. He was worried that when the family members came over, it didn't matter to the others. But he was afraid that Grandpa Qin would rummage through everything. Yi Er said, Oh! She got up, stood on the ground, and jumped twice. She saluted Zhang Zhao and smiled mischievously. Yes, sir. Sir. Yi Er's clothes were packed into a luggage bag, which wasn't much. This was because most of the things that Zhang Zhao bought for her, she would take them back and not put them here. When she went downstairs, she had a lot on her mind. This was the first time after she officially got together with Zhang Zhao that she carried a bunch of things out so early in the morning. She didn't blame him for not sending her off. Because it was really inconvenient, even if they came back together, they would go upstairs one after the other. This feeling was really weird, really weird. His family members were coming, and she, a passerby, had to pack her things and leave. It was as if the first wife was coming, and the mistress had to get lost. Suddenly, she bumped into her head. Ah! Ah! At the same time, there were two screams and a series of bangs. One of the screams was from Yi Er, and the other was from the woman she had knocked to the ground. Yi Er sat on the ground with her hands supporting her on the asphalt ground. It was a little painful. There were a few boxes scattered around the beauty she had knocked down. They were probably placed on top of the luggage bag she was hiding behind. She held the big bouquet of flowers tightly in her hands. She had never seen anyone use white baby's breath and clusters of lilacs to make a bouquet. Was it because it was cheap? There were layers of wrinkled paper wrapped around the bouquet, making Yi Er feel that the paper was much more expensive than the flowers. Yi Er looked at her scraped knee and frowned. She felt that she had been careless and bumped into someone. Without any explanation, she stood up and apologized. Just as she was about to help the beauty up, she heard hurried footsteps behind her. The tall figure had already walked past her and stood in front of her. The autumn morning sun was faint, but it was especially warm and comfortable when it shone on her body. However, Yi Er felt that she should probably wear a sweater today. It was a little cold. The man carefully helped the woman in front of him up. Then he spoke in a voice she was most familiar with. It was low and had a gentleness that she rarely shared. Yun Yun, why are you so careless? Did you hurt yourself? Yi Er felt abandoned. The man who had been intimate with her all night last night was now helping another woman pick up the scattered items on the ground. It was as if he didn't know her at all. The woman who had been knocked down by Yi Er stood up and handed the flowers in her hand to Zhang Zhao. She reached out and carefully buttoned a button on Zhang Zhao's shirt. Her voice was very soft and there was a hint of annoyance at the end. You ran in such a hurry that your shirt wasn't buttoned properly. Why did you run down with your shoes on? With that said, she looked at Yi-er apologetically and nudged Jiang Zhao. I'm fine. Look at Mississippi. She should be more seriously injured than I am. Yi-er finally noticed that the woman's hair was like satin. It was black and shiny and was tied loosely at the back of her neck. Her plain mid-sleeve dress was a plain beige color. But her features were like a painting. She didn't have any makeup on her face. It was so light, but it was so beautiful that it made people feel inferior. That's right. Yi-er suddenly felt inferior. It was precisely in such an environment that she felt inferior. Being young was useless. Some women were able to accumulate a kind of beauty that no one could surpass after experiencing the passage of time. Moreover, she was already very beautiful. Yi-er didn't even feel like apologizing. Even if that woman was so weak that she stood aloof from worldly affairs, she had a man to take care of her. What was there to apologize for? If apologizing was useful, why would she need a man? All right, she was a low-class woman. Who asked her to be so uneducated? She looked at the woman who had been called Yan Yan. The corners of her mouth stiffened. I'm fine. I'll leave first. Yan Yan? This damn pervert kept calling her little fox. If not, he would call her by her name. Didn't he know that a gentleman's first step was to be friendly to a lady? Her name could also be Yun Yun, Xiao Yun, Yun Yi-er, Xiao Yi. Was there a problem? Couldn't say it out loud? Bah, he wasn't a gentleman at all. He had always been a pervert. He had chased her away so that other women could move in. They had even brought their luggage over. He actually said that Grandpa was celebrating his birthday and was afraid that people from Grandpa's side would come over. What a liar. She had only taken 2 steps when Jiang Zhao chased after her and pulled Yi-er back. I'll take you to the hospital. Your knee is bleeding. Yi-er flung Jiang Zhao's hand away. Without saying a word, she walked out of the neighborhood with a cold expression. A thought suddenly appeared in her mind. She couldn't F*King continue this act anymore. Later, she received a message from Jiang Zhao asking her to go to the hospital for a checkup. Otherwise, her wound would get infected. Yi-er didn't reply. Jiang Zhao pulled her luggage and placed a pile of boxes on top of it before entering the lift. Yan Yan, you're really something. You can even bring so many things over. I took a taxi to the entrance of the neighborhood. The security guard asked me to connect to the house before letting the taxi in. I wanted to give you a surprise, so I walked over myself. Ouyang Yen stood by the side with a bouquet of flowers in her arms. When she smiled, her eyes seemed to glow. I've been transferred back to the procuratorate. I don't want to stay at home. It's too restrictive. My dad has agreed to it. I haven't found a house yet. Can I stay here with you? Ding! The lift sounded. As long as you think it's convenient. Of course it's convenient. Give me a set of keys. Jiang Zhao nodded and took the keys to open the door. Why did his nose suddenly become so sensitive? The windows were open, but he could still smell the fox's scent. Just now, when he was standing on the balcony, that woman seemed to be blind and fell. She really deserved it. Dong Xuebing ran downstairs and wanted to help her up to apply some ointment. But Ouyang Yen came over. Dong Xuebing thought his eyes were playing tricks on him until Ouyang Yen smiled at him. Ouyang Yen took out a box from her luggage and opened it. She took out a pair of pink cotton slippers and put it on. Second brother, my dad said that if the situation doesn't change, you will be the acting mayor? Jiang Zhao was still thinking about this when Ouyang Yen kicked him away. He dragged her luggage to the guest room. The situation is changing every day. How can the situation remain the same? Ouyang Yen followed behind. The situation is controlled by someone. Jiang Zhao put the box away and turned around. I'll ask the hourly worker to come over and help you clean up. There is food in the fridge, and there are a lot of business cards outside the fridge. You can also go out to eat. There are 4 cars in the underground garage. I will give you the keys later. You can drive whichever car you like. Walking back to the bedroom, Jiang Zhao opened the wardrobe and picked out a tie for himself. After tying it, he took down his suit from the hanger. Ouyang Yen also walked over, took the suit and stood behind him to open it. Jiang Zhao stretched out his arms and put on his blazer. Ouyang Yen adjusted Jiang Zhao's tie like a virtuous wife. You are too neat sometimes. You don't look like a man.
So a sloppy man looks like a man?
No. A woman should help you pack up. A woman's role is to help a man pack up. Ouyang Yen coquettishly slapped Jiang Zhao's chest. I can't win against you. Add, Song Shu 566. Chapter 483. Seeing that Jiang Zhao was about to leave, Ouyang Yen stopped him. Second brother, I asked Grandpa Qin out for dinner tonight. Grandpa said we should go together. Okay, wait for me to get off work. There was a saying in Haiqing, rich in the south, rich in the north, chaotic in the west, poor in the east. As the city's construction increased, this disparity seemed to decrease. However, the rich still gathered in the south. This was where the first group of rich people settled down and bought their properties. Every inch of land was worth its weight in gold. 2 years ago, an old man named Shi Zhentian moved into Haiqing. He built the Shi family's main house in the south. In this area, he built a house with mountains and lakes, showing off his family's wealth. When Enyu returned to the Shi residence, Shi Zhentian was sitting on the sofa, watching the news. His face was flushed red, and his physique was sturdier than an ordinary old man. As long as he stood up, he would exude a heroic spirit that resembled a hero and a bandit. Grandpa. Unwu greeted old man Shi as usual. Unwu, are you happy today? Old man Shi saw Unwu and quickly turned off the TV and walked over. I'm fine. Did you encounter something that made you unhappy recently? Grandpa always sees you in a bad mood. Grandpa, you're thinking too much. I'm always like this. Master. Little Master's studio. I'll let Ague. The 40-year-old housekeeper, Sister Hua, shouted from upstairs. Before she could finish, Unwu ran up the stairs. Shi Zhentian panicked and chased after him. Even though he was in his 60s, his footsteps were strong and strong. There was an intimidating aura about him that swept past the servants in his wake. A crisp slap sounded from upstairs. Pia. Then there was the sound of someone kneeling on the floor. Ague's voice was heard. Little Master, I just wanted to help you clean. And you bent down and grabbed the neck of the 30-year-old servant Ague. His eyes were bloodshot, and it was as if a blood-eyed leopard had suddenly jumped out of the gentle boy's eyes. What did you see? Who allowed you to enter my studio? Who allowed you to touch my things? Are you tired of living? Young Master, I didn't do it on purpose. I just opened the door and didn't go in. Sister Hua was scared out of her wits. When she wanted to stop the fight, she was pushed by Unwu. Her whole body fell to the corridor, and the hair at the back of her head fell out. Shi Zhentian stood behind Unwu. He furrowed his brows and said in a voice as loud as a bell, In the future, you will only clean Yunwu's room if he asks you to. Otherwise, if you anger him again, don't blame me for being ruthless. Master, young master, I won't do it again. I won't do it again. Enyu looked at the crack in the door, closed his eyes, and took a few deep breaths. After a while he said calmly, Ague, you go down. Ague scrambled away when he heard that. Shi Zhentian quickly went up to Unwu and asked anxiously, Unwu, are you feeling unwell? No, I've made Grandpa worry. I'll try my best to control myself next time. Shi Zhentian stroked Yunwu's chest. You lost your temper because the servants provoked you. Relax. Unwu nodded and walked to Sister Hua. He helped her up and tidied her hair. Aunt Hua, I'm sorry for what happened. I didn't do it on purpose. I couldn't control myself. Although Sister Hua was pushed to the ground, she looked at Unwu and didn't complain. Her eyes were full of heartache. Young master, it's Aunt Hua's fault. I almost let someone touch your things and made you angry. Unwu slowly wiped the tears off Sister Hua's face and said softly, Rest early tonight. I'll ask the kitchen to make some sweet soup for you. I'm afraid that you'll be in a bad mood. Eating something sweet will make you happier. No need, no need. After comforting Sister Hua and Shi Zhentian, Unwu entered the studio and turned on the lights. The bright room was filled with the smell of oil paint. He walked to the window and covered the drawing board with a white cloth. He raised his hand and pulled it open. On the 4 drawing boards, the women were wearing different clothes and had different hairstyles. But no matter how their expressions changed, they were still the same person. He turned sideways and pulled open the white cloth next to him. On the 2 drawing boards were the graceful figures of the young women. They had seductive curves, but their eyes didn't have the slightest intention of flirting. Unwu looked at the drawing in front of him. His eyes were as clear as water and slowly filled with warmth. But there wasn't the slightest trace of lust in them. At that time, he framed the drawing and made a copy of this drawing. He wanted to make a copy at that time, but he didn't look at the original drawing at all. He drew one based on his memory. It turned out that when he was thinking of someone, his memory could be so complete. Even the curve of her curly eyelashes when he drew could be engraved in his mind. Yunyi. If only he had known her name earlier. Then, he wouldn't have had to think about her becoming an artist at Wutong Street. All he had to do was look up at the sky. The sky was filled with her. Weren't white clouds 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 clouds? They had known each other for more than a year. It had been more than a year, and she had abandoned him just like that. It was just because he asked something that he shouldn't have. He pulled open the curtains and looked at the bright moon outside the window. When he touched his heart, he realized that this was the feeling of heartache. It was a feeling that tugged at his heart. Xia Qian called Yi Er and asked her to have dinner together. She said that her sister liked her a lot and wanted to ask if she was interested in being a design assistant. She could be an assistant while studying. When she graduated, she would introduce her to a designer job. Yi Er felt that this was like a pie falling from the sky. It was too good of a thing. The location of the date was Shoshui Jiangnan. However, enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. When she saw Jiang Zhao's back view, she pretended to be indifferent. Humph, who cares? However, when she saw old Master Qin Fian, and that Yun Yun from today enter the private room, Yi Er couldn't remain calm. What was going on? Meet the parents. He actually chased her away and brought a woman to meet the parents. Xiaoya crossed her arms and tilted her head to the right. She reached out to tuck her hair behind her ear and nudged Yi Er. You know them? Yi Er wrinkled her nose and harumphed at Xiaoya. I'm not that old-fashioned, okay? Everyone in Sea City knows that I'm a phoenix that has its feathers plucked. Yes. Who doesn't know Miss from Yun University? What I meant was, are you familiar with them? Xiaoya had also heard about Yi Er from Xia Qian. Although she knew that the Yun family's matter was troublesome, Zhuang Yichen didn't say anything. He only said, stay away from Yun Yi. What? Why should she listen to him? They had agreed that they wouldn't have anything to do with each other. As long as her body didn't betray him, it was fine. Besides, she wasn't his woman anymore. She didn't want him to meddle in her affairs. She wouldn't listen to him. I'm not familiar with them. Yi Er turned and entered the private room. Xia Qian sat at the head of the table and picked up the menu to order. Xiaoya walked over and slapped Xia Qian on the shoulder. Go away. You can't sit here if you don't have money. Xia Qian snatched the bag from Xiaoya's shoulder and held it in her hand. She shamelessly said, it's my treat. You can sit here. Yi Er sat to the side and covered his face. He thumped his chest and stamped his feet. Oh my God. I really don't want to tell outsiders that I know the two of you. Especially Qiu and Xiaoya. He let go of his hand and looked at Xia Qian. Qian, you're in the media. Why don't you film a documentary about Sister Xiaoya's life? It'll definitely sell for a lot of money and I'll be able to benefit from it. When the time comes, my feathers will grow back. Xia Qian looked at Xiaoya in disdain and said to Yi Er, forget it. If you film it for her, it'll be exactly what she wants. She's always thinking of using unorthodox methods to promote herself. She turned and poked Xiaoya's forehead. Wicked. The order of society is destroyed by people like you. Xiaoya stood up and said fiercely, you impudent thing. Be careful or I'll beat you to death. Yi Er was increasingly not in the mood to watch the two of them fooling around. He was only thinking about what the people in the other private room were talking about and what they were planning. This woman was so intimate with him in the morning. Her eyes were full of love and affection. In order not to make that woman angry, he actually ignored her. In the future, that Yun Yun would be living in the Chungbei apartment. What would she do? Zhang Zhao was getting married. What would she do? Would he still care about her? But he was already married. Even if he cared about her, she couldn't do that kind of thing. Yi Er didn't know what was going on. Whenever he saw a family meeting a woman, he instinctively felt that they were discussing marriage. This feeling made him panic. So what if they were purging people underground? It wasn't that shameful. To put it bluntly, so what if he had a girlfriend now? Everyone had a chance to fight and choose before marriage. But to be the third party in someone else's marriage was really shameful. That was the bottom line of morality. Even if she had to beg others to help her, she didn't want to fall to that level. But why? Although she was using him, he was also using her. He was using her father in prison. Because of her father's injustice, he used this to defeat his opponent. Wasn't that right? He admitted it himself. Originally, they were using each other, but he still slept with her again and again. She didn't care for giving clothes and buying jewelry. Anyway, it wasn't rare. But he was worried that she wouldn't sleep well and catch a cold. He even bought her long-sleeved pajamas and put them on for her personally. Wasn't this good for her? Why was this man so annoying? He just wanted to give her some benefits, and she was happy to let him sleep with her? She had been with him for so long, and now he was asking her to find a new backer? Now that he had played enough, he wanted to just pat her butt and call it a day? Why? She had been watching his face for so long. Suddenly, a woman flew in from another planet and kicked her away just like that? She didn't get any benefits at all. Humph. She wouldn't let him play her like that. Even if he wanted to get married, that person could only be her. She would never be the third party outside of marriage. Tuesday happened to be the 15th day of the lunar calendar. It was autumn and the sun was shining. Because Old Master Qin's birthday was coming soon, the Zhang family had already come to High City from Zhangzhou. They invited everyone to burn incense at the Panlong Temple to show their sincerity. The Panlong Temple was in a scenic area. A group of people walked slowly and looked at the intoxicating orange, red and yellow scenery. Such a spectacular group attracted countless people's attention. Not to mention that there were more than 30 people. The handsome men and beautiful women among them made the tourists feel like they were filming an idol drama. Taking a closer look, there were many big shots familiar to the people of High City. Qin Rongfang, the old master of the Qin family, Jiang Liqing, the commander of the southern military region, Qin Rongfang's daughter, Qin Zhen, the boss of Jinzi Investment, Jiang Zhao, the deputy mayor, and Qin Fian, the heir of the Qin family. There were also big shots in Jiangzhou that the people of High City were not familiar with. The old master of the Jiang family, the former commander of the southern military region, and his grandson, Jiang Rue, the eldest son of Jiangzhou. Jiang Rue was wearing a casual shirt and casual pants, holding his son Jiang Mian, who was less than 1 year old. The tall, handsome, and rich dad was particularly eye-catching. The woman next to him clapped her hands towards her son and reached out. Mian, Mian, can mommy carry you? Let daddy rest. At Hongcha 866. Chapter 484. The man looked at his wife affectionately. How heavy is Nian Mian? This kind of physical work is not suitable for a woman. Zhang Zhao took 2 steps back to Jiang Rue's side. The 2 men were of the same height and were both handsome men. However, their styles were completely different. One looked gentle and elegant, while the other looked calm and reserved. Brother, you're always showing off your love. Are you trying to get grandfather and grandfather to unite all the men in our family to have a competition? Old Master Qin stopped, turned around and said angrily, not only that, especially Fei Yan, he can be sentenced to death. Qin Feiyu pinched the frame of his spectacles, lifted it and said bitterly, brother, you know that every time this topic comes up, the fire will definitely burn me. I just like a man. Is it worth it for you to rack your brains to force me? Jiang Rue held his son with one hand and put his other hand on Xiang Wan's shoulder. He lowered his head and whispered in her ear, I'll bring you here to watch the show in the future. Old Master Qin snorted. Aren't you afraid that the fire will burn on you when you publicize it and admit it publicly? Haha, I just want more people to support me. Dream on. I'll find a woman to give you artificial insemination. When the insemination is successful, I'll drive you out of the Qin family. Old Master Qin turned around and continued to walk away. Old Master Jiang walked over and patted Old Master Qin's shoulder. He said earnestly, "Old Qin, don't be angry. Your children and grandchildren will have their own blessings." Then he sighed. "Sigh, you don't know how annoying it is to have a child in the family. Mian Mian is so young, but the family is about to be overturned by him. He only knows how to torture me. Every time he sees me, he'll shout, 'Grandfather, grandfather, carry me.' When I hold him in my arms, his chubby hands will pinch my mouth and rub my face. It's so annoying." Then he laughed. Old Master Qin was so angry that he blew his beard and glared at him. This guy didn't come to persuade him. He obviously wanted to anger him to death. He was angry that he didn't have a grandson to hug. The others were already used to such scenes and only hoped that the show would be more exciting. When Jiang Zhao received a call from Yi Er, he slowed down his steps and waited until the large group of people had left before answering the call. "Hello." He heard Yi Er's soft voice in a crowded place. "Ah Zhao, what are you doing?"
The corners of her mouth lifted slightly.
"I went to burn incense with my family. I'm walking now. I'm just outside the scenic area." "Ah Zhao, I miss you. I'll go and find you today. Be good. Don't mess around. After a few days, when all the relatives leave, I'll pick you up. By then, don't live there anymore. I'll buy you a new house outside." Jiang Zhao felt that he had become more and more obedient to Yi Er recently. In the past, when she acted coquettishly and acted cute, he only glared at her and did not pursue the matter. Now, he actually knew how to coax her. "There's no need for a house. I don't go back to where I live now. Hello, did you miss me?" Jiang Zhao looked at the group in front of him and the smile on his face widened. "I." Suddenly, another girl's voice sounded. It was very tender and should be about the same age as Yi Er. There was a distance between them and she shouted, "Yi Er, don't use your cell phone when crossing the road." Jiang Zhao frowned and repeated, "Don't use your cell phone when crossing the road." The girl's voice was sweet. Just like before, she always loved to act coquettishly. "Hey, you haven't answered me yet. Did you miss me?" The screeching sound of the car tires skidding across the asphalt road and the scalp-numbing sound of the brakes seemed to come from the other side of the sky. It went straight through the phone and into the man's eardrums. "Ah!" Yi Er screamed. Bam! It was the blunt sound of something hard colliding with something soft. There was a clattering sound in his ears. Yi Er's cell phone must have fallen to the ground. Jiang Zhao frowned again. "Yi Er?" No one answered. Almost at the same time, the girl's voice sounded again. This time, it was a scream and she was even further away. "Oh my God! Yi Er!" "Car!" "Ah!" It was chaos on the other end of the phone. Jiang Zhao felt as if a thunderbolt had exploded in his mind. His heart tightened and he staggered. The veins on his forehead were throbbing as he screamed into the phone, "Yun Yi!" Jiang Zhao didn't know how loud he screamed. The dozens of people who had walked away all turned around to look at him. When Qin Fian saw the change in Jiang Zhao's expression, he quickly walked over. Although they were usually bickering, as a younger brother, he could tell when something was wrong. He asked seriously, "Bro, what happened? Hurry up. Give this cell phone number to Dad and let him use the military system to locate it. Hurry up and find out where it is." Jiang Zhao reached out to rub his forehead. He felt as though his legs were filled with lead. He placed the cell phone screen in front of Qin Fian and tried his best to calm down. Calm down. Calm down. However, his hands couldn't help but tremble. He tried to breathe in and out to calm himself down, but it was to no avail. The girl's cheerful and joyful voice was still ringing in his ears. Her voice was soft and filled with anticipation. "Ah Zhao, did you miss me? You haven't answered me. Did you miss me? Bro, what's wrong? Hurry up. Why are you talking so much nonsense?" Jiang Zhao looked up and shouted. Qin Fian knew that this was no small matter from his furious expression. He quickly took the cell phone from his brother's hand. Just as Qin Fian turned around, a figure suddenly appeared behind Jiang Zhao and hugged him from behind. Jiang Zhao's back suddenly stiffened. He quickly turned around and immediately grabbed the girl's shoulder. He was so angry that his whole body was trembling. He wanted to strangle her to death. However, before he could hit her, she had already tiptoed, wrapped her arms around his neck, and kissed him deeply. This was big news. The Jiang and Qin families thought that this was big news. From time to time, passers-by would take out their cameras and start taking pictures when they saw such a handsome couple kissing passionately on the street. Jiang Zhao obviously hadn't come back to his senses yet. His trembling breaths hadn't calmed down yet.
The familiar soft and fresh smell filled his mouth and nose again.
Yunyi.
He pushed her away fiercely.
Yunyi, what are you trying to do?
The tall and handsome man was like a lion that was on the verge of going crazy. His gaze that made people's hearts tremble and the veins on his palm that was tightly gripping the girl's shoulder were telling others that he was unable to restrain his anger.
How could she play such a big joke on him? No matter how dazzling Jean Chou's gaze was, it wouldn't hurt her skin.
The rays of light passed through the gaps of the bright red maple leaves and shone into the girl's bright black pupils.
It was like the light on the surface of a lake, shining brightly.
She looked up at him and ignored his anger. She looked straight into his eyes and raised her head confidently.
Her hands cupped around her lips like a trumpet.
She bent down and shouted at him loudly and confidently. "Jiang,
I want to marry you. I want to marry you."
Wah! Dense applause and exclamations rose one after another.
Many people gave Yi Er a thumbs up. Who said that only men could propose? Who said that a man had to kneel on one knee before getting married? Who said that women couldn't make vows in public? I want to marry you. Marry you.
Firm and without regrets.
Women could also be like this.
The young people had started to cheer and shouted in unison, "Be together.
Be together. Be together."
Although most of the people here were tourists and most of them did not care about the politics of other provinces, the people from Haiqing would also come here to burn incense and petition.
Not many people did not know Jiang Zhao. Furthermore, he was a handsome and young deputy mayor. Those who did not watch the news would watch the TV and be infatuated with him. Qin Fian stood there and looked at the girl who proposed to his brother. Then he looked at the girl's profile picture on his personal phone. Forget it. There was no need to use the satellite to locate them. It was impossible for Jiang Zhao to throw a tantrum at Yer in such an environment.
However, due to his frequently polarized state of mind, he could only force a smile at the corner of his mouth.
At this moment, the elders from the Jiang and Qin families were also nervous. A few seconds after the confession, professional SLR cameras were flashing non-stop. The shutter sounds were also incessant. It was obviously a professional media. Yunyi asked him to get to know Xia Qian. She did not do her own thing and set him up first. This was a fact that could no longer be covered up. Unless, when Jiang Zhao's father, Jiang Liqing, walked over quickly, he pulled Yi Er to the side and said to the crowd calmly and gently, "I'm sorry to disturb everyone. I didn't expect my fiancé to give me such a surprise here." Jiang Liqing had always had a fiery personality. When he heard Jiang Zhao's words to the media, he stopped in his tracks. He did not even have a chance to explain. Qin Rongfeng's expression was already stormy. Old Master Jiang didn't know much about the rich people in High City, and he wouldn't casually ask Jiang Zhao about the details of politics.
Moreover, he had never seen Yunyi before, but when he saw his old friend's expression, he knew that things were not good.
What's going on? Old Qin? This girl is not suitable for Zhao Zhao? You have been against it, haven't you? He looked at his uncle Jiang Liqing and then looked at his grandfather. But he said to Qin Rongfeng, "Grandpa of the Qin family also likes to do this kind of thing?" Although Jiang Zhao was the son of his uncle Jiang Liqing and the brothers had been fighting since childhood, they had a good relationship. He did not want his younger brother to follow in his footsteps. Elder Jiang looked embarrassed. He looked at Qin Rongfeng and advised, "Adults can't interfere with the children's affairs. You know my eldest brother's affairs. Let me tell you, Zhao Zhao's surname is Jiang. Don't go too far." Jiang Rui stopped talking. Qin Rongfeng said angrily, "So what if he's surnamed Jiang? He came to Haiqing with his mother when he was 14 years old. Is my relationship with him less than yours in the first 14 years? You want to fight with me, don't you? You old bastard." Elder Jiang knew that Qin Rongfeng was angry, so he did not care about what was happening.
He snorted, "Seeing that you are not dead yet, I am embarrassed to die first."
Ouyang Yan, who was standing in the crowd, could no longer differentiate between north and south. What was going on? Fiancé? When did he have a fiancée? Did she transfer back to work just to see him marry someone else? Yi only knew that she had to take the risk. Especially when she saw that Yun Yun was so close to Zhang Zhao's grandfather along the way. She could not let those irreversible things happen. Attention, Song Shu 566. Chapter 485. Xia Qian had prepared the recording in advance to see how Zhang Zhao would react to her. If he reacted, it meant that he wasn't so cold-blooded that he didn't care about her life or death. At least, he didn't treat her as a stranger who had nothing to do with him. Since that was the case, she could take a gamble. In front of the media and the public, the Zhang and Qin families had always been friendly and modest. But today, they had to stop praying early. The Qin family's mansion was quaint. The main hall and living room were full of people. This was the liveliness Qin Rongfang should have before his birthday, but it wasn't as lively as it should be. No one spoke and looked at the door from time to time, waiting for the main character to appear. In the north of the front yard, there was Zhang Zhao's room. Yi was pressed against the door by him. Her almond-shaped eyes stared at him without blinking. He laughed coldly. Yun Yi, you're not going to pretend anymore, are you? You're going to show your claws, aren't you? Yi raised her chin. She was angry at the thought of him chasing her away and marrying another woman. Why? Did he want to kill her for ruining his plan? Yes, after being bullied by you for so long, I can finally hold my head high. Zhang Zhao's teeth were pressed against his cheeks. The lines on his face were tense and she could hear the sound of his teeth grinding. I bullied you? What do you want? Zhang Zhao, let me tell you, I'm not Yun Yi for you to play with. You promised to save my father. Don't think about breaking your promise. Zhang Zhao smiled bitterly. For your brother and father, you climbed into my bed. Now that you're afraid that I'll go back on my word, you can't wait to marry me. For your father, you're willing to sacrifice yourself like this? Yi's breathing stopped for 2 seconds. That night when she asked him if he liked her, he pretended to sleep and avoided her. Did he hate that kind of emotional entanglement? But it didn't matter if he didn't love her. After all, they were just using each other. But if he wanted to marry someone else, there was no way. What does that matter? We don't have any feelings for each other. I don't want you to love me, and I don't need to love you. We're not tired. Or if you get my father out, I'll stop bothering you. What do you think? The man slowly loosened his grip on the woman's chin. Even his voice was no longer as hard as before. He exhaled and said, Fine, fine, I'll fulfill your wish. He let go of Yi and threw her onto the sofa with all his might. Zhang Zhao reached out to turn off the light, making the room instantly dark. No one could peek at his emotions. With the light in the yard, he walked to the window and lit a cigarette. Yi got up from the sofa. She felt a few strands of hair fall on her face. She reached out to tidy them. Her gaze fell on the window, and she couldn't look away. The night sky outside the window was cloudy. The man was wearing a dark blue shirt, and at this time, he blended into the night. Only when he smoked could she see his gloomy expression. When he smoked, he used a lot of force because Yi saw the glowing red coals of the cigarette glow for a long time when he inhaled. She really wanted to turn into the smoke and be sucked deep into his lungs by him. His eyes were sore and swollen, and the corners of his eyes hurt a little. He didn't have any feelings for her. Was it so difficult to force him to marry her? He loved someone else. When she saw that Yun Yun's completely dazed expression today, she knew that she had ruined his happiness. He must hate her to death, right? What did it matter? In any case, Mrs. Zhang was now hers. Unless he dared to tell the public that it was a joke for another woman, he wouldn't say or do that. There were many political figures who didn't have a happy marriage, but no one dared to make such a joke. Yi followed Zhang Zhao into the main hall. The wall and ceiling lights were all turned on, and the entire house was dazzlingly bright. Old Master Zhang and Qin Rongfang sat in the main seats of the main hall. After finding out about the Yun family situation, Old Master Zhang wasn't in the mood to bicker with Qin Rongfang. When Ouyang Yan saw Yi today, he knew that this woman was really related to Zhang Zhao. That day, she kept apologizing to Zhang Zhao for bumping into her. But when she saw Zhang Zhao helping her, she changed her attitude. She was obviously jealous. It was rare for Qin Fian to be so serious and serious.
Because of this, no one could laugh.
Jiang Zhao was the second grandson of the Jiang family, the eldest grandson of the Qin family. He was the son of the commander of the military region, Jiang Liqing. He was also the son of the chairman of Jin Chao Investment, Qin Zhen. He was the deputy mayor of Hai City, and he had registered 2 companies under his mother's name. He had a bright future, and he could bring benefits to his family. With Jiang Zhao around, it was very convenient for Qin Fian to do whatever he wanted. Because his brother was the deputy mayor, even if Jiang Zhao didn't show up, he could still enjoy the privileges brought by his power. Although the Qin family and Jiang Liqing had a lot to do with this, Jiang Zhao had been on the rise for the past 2 years. He could easily get the position of mayor, and he would enter the provincial party committee in the future. No one was willing to see such a person be affected because of a marriage. Yun Yi was the daughter of an economic criminal. Yun Hongwei was once involved in a power struggle and became a sacrificial lamb. At that time, Qin Rongfang knew that Jiang Zhao had stayed in the Qin palace for a night. Later on, he also talked to Jiang Zhao about it. Hai City was a place of power, and they couldn't easily destroy its balance as it would affect the whole situation. However, they didn't expect that the 2 of them were actually involved. If they wanted Jiang Zhao's future to not be affected, they could only get Yun Hongwei out and release him without charges. However, this would be a huge sacrifice for the Qin family and the Jiang family, and they would offend too many people. Although Jiang Rui was playing with his son in Xiang Wan's arms, he was listening attentively to other people's conversations. Old Master Jiang said, "Zhao Zhao, can you bear this responsibility?" Jiang Zhao stood in the middle of the hall. His back was stiff, and his voice was low. He didn't answer directly. Let's keep it simple. Yi Er was silent at the side. When she heard his words, she couldn't help but feel a little moved. Qin Rongfang and Old Master Jiang stood up from their seats almost at the same time as Jiang Liqing. Their purpose was to hold Jiang Liqing's hand, but Old Master Jiang was 1 step slower than Qin Rongfang. Qin Rongfang held Jiang Liqing's hand in his palm and shouted, "My grandson, if you dare to touch him, I'll fight you to the death. For the past 15 years, I've taken care of the most. What have you ever done? You can try touching him. Qin Zhen hasn't remarried to you yet, and she dares to touch you under my nose. What if she remarries you?" Old Master Jiang also hoped that his eldest son and daughter-in-law would remarry as soon as possible. However, Qin Zhen was good to everyone, and she was still filial to him like how she was to her father-in-law. It was really annoying for her to act like this in front of his eldest son. Jiang Liqing held back his anger and put down his hand. However, he couldn't help but get angry at Jiang Zhao. "You said to keep it simple? Have you ever considered our big family?" Jiang Zhao said lightly, "When my parents divorced, I didn't consider such a big family." Jiang Liqing's stubborn temper had just gone down, and now it was going to rise again. Qin Zhen stood up slowly. Her hair was tied up in a dignified bun at the back of her head. Everyone knew that Qin Rongfang's daughter, Qin Zhen, was a very capable and strong woman. However, her appearance was as gentle as water. She gave birth to Jiang Zhao when she was 20 years old. Although she was almost 50 years old, her charm was as if she was in her 30s. Qin Zhen glanced at Jiang Liqing and said lightly, "In my opinion, if you like her, just marry her. Otherwise, you'll be like some people who marry someone you don't like and regret it for the rest of your life. After you get married, you get drunk and throw tantrums every day." Jiang Liqing was wearing a military uniform. When he saw that his ex-wife had spoken, he immediately lowered his voice. "Qin Zhen, as long as I oppose it, you support it. As long as I support it, you oppose it. However, the matter of the child is a big matter. You can't go against me so easily." "So many years have passed since the things that happened when we were young," Qin Zhen said disdainfully. "Then show me your support. I want to see if I will go against you." She ignored the dumbfounded Jiang Liqing and walked to Yi Er's side. She pulled him to the guest chair and sat down, allowing Yi Er to stand. The beautiful mother-in-law sitting on the Chinese-style guest chair had the standard sitting posture of a member of a prestigious family. Although her voice was gentle when she spoke to Yi Er, her aura was not weak at all. "In my opinion, it's too late to scold anyone. I just want to tell you that as Jiang Zhao's daughter-in-law, there are many things you have to pay attention to. In such a big family, It's necessary to respect the elders.
In the past, even if you were the daughter of a rich family, you have to put away those thorns in your temper. No matter how fierce you are, go back to your room, close the door and send it to your husband. Once you're out of your room, you have to be dignified, reserved, generous, and decent. You can't do anything that offends public decency. These shouldn't be difficult, right?
Yi Er turned to look at Zhang Zhao but found that Zhang Zhao was not looking at her. She was a little disappointed. Then she looked at her future mother-in-law and nodded.
I'll do it well.
Old Master Zhang had experienced what happened to Zhang Rui, so he didn't dare to oppose anyone. He had been traumatized. No matter how heavy his thoughts were, he didn't dare to make a fuss in front of his child. Zhang Rui and Xiang Wan acted as if they didn't know anything and just teased their son in a low voice. Ouying Yen couldn't stay calm anymore. She couldn't continue to be dignified. She stood up and walked to Qin Zhen. She clenched her fists, and there were some clearly visible veins on her neck. Auntie, I object. I don't agree with them being together like this. They're not suitable. They can't get married. Qin Zhen looked up at Ouyang Yen with a faint smile. Oh, she said. Object? What reason? What method? The key is how to persuade the public and the media? Qin Rongfeng doted on his eldest daughter very much. He felt that she was no worse than his son. Although Qin Zhen's business was not under the name of the Qin Group, it was still doing well and had made a name for itself. Therefore, when she decided on something, even if he was unhappy, he would not refute it directly. Ouyang Yen analyzed Yi Er's family situation seriously. Then she looked at Yi Er from the side and said calmly, I think her purpose is not pure. If she really loves second brother, how could she force second brother to do this? She clearly knows how much her father's matter will affect second brother, yet she still wants to publicize their relationship like this. It's obvious that she wants to use the Qin family's power to offend the officials in order to save her father. Zhang Zhao didn't speak. He closed his eyes for a while and then opened them again. He walked to Yi Er. Yan Yan, whether we love her or not is our business. You don't have to analyze it for everyone. She has been with me for a long time. I should give her a status. So since it's decided, there's no need to discuss it anymore. Zhang Rui stood up and walked over to pat Zhang Zhao's shoulder. We haven't seen each other for a long time. Shall we go for a drink later? He looked at Qin Fian and smiled. Fian together?
Qin Fian nodded and said, Of course.
Zhang Zhao looked at Yi Er and said to Zhang Rui, Okay, I'll send Yi Er back first. Yi Er heaved a sigh of relief. After Zhang Zhao left with Yi Er, Ouyang Yen bit her lips and went to hold Qin Rongfeng's arm. She said sadly, Grandpa Qin, how can second brother like her? They won't be happy. You love second brother the most. How can you let him compromise like this? Grandpa Qin, your objection must be useful. Beauty novel, Xinwu 799. Chapter 486. Zhang Zhao glanced at Ouyang Yen and said, If Zhang Zhao doesn't like her, he will definitely leave her here and let you drown her with your saliva. What's more, is Zhang Zhao a person who can be threatened by any woman? The Qin family is obviously against it. As long as he doesn't buy it, the Qin family and the Zhang family can't deal with a down-and-out daughter. Don't treat Zhang Zhao as a pushover. No one can bully him since he was a child. Qin Fian was the only one who had seen the photo on Zhang Zhao's mobile phone. He saw through everything. He bumped Zhang Rui's shoulder and said ambiguously, Brother, no wonder you love someone. Hearing his words, Master Zhang felt lucky that he didn't say too much just now. Qin Rongfeng slammed the table, which shocked Ouyang Yen so much that he quickly let go of his hand and stepped aside. Tonight, Qin Rongfeng's sage-like temperament didn't stay on him. My grandson is ruined by you people. Make it clear. He is my grandson. Master Zhang also roared. Besides, he can't be ruined. If the Qin family is weak in High City, it will definitely be ruined. If you can't manage it, I will. Qin Rongfeng looked at Master Zhang with hatred and took a deep breath. After calming down for a few seconds he said, Lai Qing, investigate the Yun family's affairs thoroughly and find someone to intervene. No matter how much it costs, we can't affect Zhao Zhao's future. After that, he didn't forget to stare at Master Zhang.
Jiang Liqing frowned deeply and nodded solemnly. In the A8 carriage, the man and the woman were silent. Jiang Zhao couldn't understand the feeling of being pricked by needles in his heart. If they didn't talk so much tonight, maybe he wouldn't let a demon suddenly break into his heart. That demon wanted to run out of his body and kill the woman sitting in the co-pilot seat at any time. He didn't dare to forget what she said for a moment. For her father. It was not that he didn't dare to, but he couldn't forget it. She said that she could finally hold her head high. He thought that he had treated her well these days, but she wanted to take revenge like this. Thinking that the woman beside him was about to become his wife and thinking about the conversation that night, he felt a knot in his heart.
Aren't you afraid that you won't be happy after marriage? Wouldn't she regret it when she finally met the man who was willing to marry her for no one else? What kind of identity did she have to pursue her own happiness? Yi Er looked out the window. Who can guarantee that married couples will be happy? She couldn't be so great as to care about his happiness. She only knew that he couldn't marry anyone except her. The position of Mrs. Jiang could only be hers. She definitely couldn't give it to that Yun Yun. There is a saying, marriage is the tomb of love, but it is better to be buried in the ground than to be left in the street. But the premise was that the tomb was built on love. Then what would a loveless marriage be like? Buried alive? Even if she had to bury him alive, she would drag him down with her. After a long time, they would eventually form a grave. Even if we don't help each other in times of need, we can still treat each other with respect. I will do my part as Mrs. Jiang. When I walk out of the house, I will definitely be dignified, reserved, generous and decent. Turning her head, she saw that Jiang Zhao was still silent. His edges were exceptionally cold and hard. Yi Er felt a tug in her heart. He really hated her. She gave in and said, "You have someone you like. As long as I don't find out, I won't say anything. You can just date secretly." She had already given in, so it should be enough, right? Yi Er rolled down the car window, wanting the wind to quickly blow away the steam in her eyes. It turned out that compromising for the sake of the general interest was uncomfortable, like being repeatedly pulled. Yi Er thought that it was an emergency dodge and firmly grabbed the handle of the car roof. However, when the car stopped by the roadside, Jiang Zhao turned around and reached out to grab her chin. He stared at her intently. His fierce expression scared Yi Er so much that she didn't dare to speak. She only felt that all the cells in her body were trembling. The cruel feeling of being raped by him last time came back again. The man's gaze was fierce. He wanted to kill this woman on the spot. Today, at the foot of the mountain, if he hadn't reacted quickly and acknowledged her, his father would have definitely pointed the spearhead at her. How would she live in the future? This might even be considered a light punishment. She might not even know how she disappeared. He couldn't bear it and messed up his life. Did he hear wrongly? She wanted to marry him, but she wanted him to have an affair with another woman? What right do you have? What right do you have to ask me to date the person I like secretly? Who do you think you are? What right do you have to ask me? Based on the fact that there are no feelings between us? Based on the fact that I don't love you? Based on the fact that you use despicable means to make me marry you? Tell me, which part of this gives you the right to control whether I'm with the person I like openly or secretly? Yi Er's tears suddenly gushed out uncontrollably. Her lips were slightly parted, but she was trembling at the fastest speed. The cold liquid flowed down her cheeks and dripped onto the man's hand. Fine, fine, fine. I don't care about you. I don't have the right or the right. You can do whatever you want. After we get married, we'll mind our own business. Okay, let go. You're hurting me. It hurts so much. It hurts so much. It hurts so much. In the end, Yi began to wail unbridled. However, she kept repeating that it hurt so much. However, the pain did not come from the cracking of her jaw. Instead, it came from the blunt pain in her heart, as if it had been split open. Jiang Zhao felt that he was too irrational. How could he be like this? He was stirred up by a woman to this extent. It was as if the sky had turned gray. It was fine that he married a woman who didn't love him, but this woman was already pushing him into the arms of another woman before the marriage was even consummated. Was he going to quarrel and divorce like his parents after marriage? He shouldn't have such a life. It shouldn't be like this.
He turned around expressionlessly and ordered himself to stay calm while leaning on the steering wheel. After sending Yi Er back to her old neighborhood, he called Jiang Rue. The music in the jazz bar was not so noisy. It was the best place to chat. The three men's glasses collided and made a clear and ethereal sound. Jiang Zhao didn't look like he was in the car just now. He looked refreshed again. Qin Fian raised his glass and said, "Brother, congratulations. You're going to be her husband. You'll have another identity." Jiang Zhao raised his glass and drank it up. "Are you jealous? Are you going to be her husband or her wife in the future?" Qin Fian shook his neck naughtily. "This is a secret. My feelings are not mainstream, so it's inconvenient for me to share it." "Ha!" Jiang Rue poured another glass of wine for Jiang Zhao. "What if this thing ruins your future? I heard that it's quite tricky." Jiang Zhao laughed. "If it's ruined, I'll start to do business seriously and go back to Jiangzhou." Jiang Rue raised his hand to stop him. Don't go back to Jiangzhou to compete with me for business. I've been tricked by you since I was a child. I'm still living in the shadow of my childhood. But if you want to go back to Jiangzhou to be the mayor, I'll welcome you with open arms." Qin Fian looked at Jiang Rue and said discontentedly, "Brother, don't poach people like this. 2 years ago, you wanted to trick my brother into going to Jiangzhou. Fortunately, Grandpa was wise and only asked him to jump aboard." Qin Fian's tone sounded like a joke, but he really thought so. He was not willing to let Jiang Zhao go back to Jiangzhou. The elders of the Jiang and Qin families always argued about this. Jiang Zhao's ability and means were fast and steady. No one was willing to let him go. He always said to Jiang Zhao, "Brother, I'm so jealous of your company's speed of making money. It's like money laundering. People with resources are indeed different. They're more powerful than those noble families." Everyone thought that Jiang Zhao was just a mayor and that his aunt Qin Zhen's business was very powerful. The two companies under his aunt's name that belonged to Jiang Zhao were the real money grubbers. Even Grandpa said, "The Qin family has been the first in Haiqing for so many years. Without your uncle and brother, it's impossible." Therefore, when Grandpa was looking for a husband for Fei Yu, who was only 17 years old, he considered a non-political family. Jiang Zhao smiled but didn't say anything. Go back to Jiangzhou? Grandpa was happy. Later, Grandpa would have a heart attack again. His stomach would have to be cut again and he would faint every 2 or 3 days. Jiang Rue said, "I'm just afraid that he will cause trouble in Haiqing. Don't worry about going back to Jiangzhou. I will definitely settle it for him. But a strong dragon can't suppress a local snake. In Haiqing, my resources can't be used." Qin Fian said confidently, "If the Qin family can't solve such a small matter for my brother to marry a wife, then we really don't have the face to establish ourselves in Haiqing. What's more, my uncle is not someone to be trifled with." Jiang Zhao held the wine glass and shook it gently. "This matter is not so troublesome. We already have some clues about the Yun family's matter. It will be solved as soon as possible. You don't have to be so frightened." Qin Fian pushed the frame of the glasses on the bridge of his nose, picked up the glass in front of him and clinked it with Jiang Zhao. "I knew it. You never do things that you are not sure of." Jiang Zhao nodded and poured another large glass of wine into his stomach. Today, he was going to get drunk and didn't care about anything else. Jiang Zhao didn't go back to the apartment in the north of the city at night. Instead, he asked the designated driver to drive him directly to Yi Er's residence. He had sent her downstairs many times, but he still carried her upstairs that time. The community was very old. The traffic here was convenient, but he always felt that it was not very safe. The lights in the corridor were not all on. He originally said that he would buy her a new house today. When going upstairs, he had to stomp his feet or cough fiercely to make the sensor light turn on. It was dark orange and the bulb was covered with a thick layer of dust. When he walked to the 6th floor and looked at the door, he felt that his heart was not at ease at all. He drank a little too much at night. When he knocked on the door, he just knocked and didn't care if he disturbed the neighbors at all. Yi Er put on her slippers in a hurry and stood at the door. Because there was no peephole, she didn't dare to open the door casually. She asked, "Who is it?" Jiang Zhao kicked the door panel and continued to knock on the door. His voice was vague with impatience, but his voice was very loud. "Who is it? Who else could it be other than your husband?
If you don't open the door for your husband, I'll tear it down for you. Do you believe me? With that said, he kicked the door again. Yi Er burst into laughter and pulled the door open. Zhang Zhao fell straight in. She was so tired from the man's weight that she couldn't stand. He said, "Ah Zhao, wait a moment. I'll close the door first." Zhang Zhao didn't let Yi Er close the door. His legs were very long. With a back kick, he kicked the door shut heavily. Although Yi Er's house was old, it was very clean and tidy. She helped Zhang Zhao to a simple fabric sofa. Yi Er originally wanted to let him lie down for a while and then help him wash his face. In the end, the sofa was too small. With his height, there was no way he could lie down. He looked ugly sitting there with his long arms and legs. Quickly come and see. Hongcha 866. Chapter 487. Yi Er had never seen Zhang Zhao so drunk before. In the past, no matter how late he was at social gatherings, he would never look so drunk. It seemed like he didn't have to care about his image when drinking with his brother today. Was he very relaxed? At this moment, Zhang Zhao lost his temper. He tugged at his collar and stood up with a stomp of his foot. With a childishness that he had never shown before, he made an unreasonable fuss. "Yun, when your husband comes home, you throw him on a small stool like this. Don't you know that a wife should be virtuous? Don't you know that the wife is the leader of the husband? Go, get me some water. I want to drink water." Yi Er didn't know whether to laugh or cry when she saw his tall and burly figure acting so shamelessly. She was laughing when the man stretched out his long arm and grabbed the woman under his arm and dragged her into the bedroom. "Hey, hey, hey." Yi Er was uncomfortable from being sandwiched and almost left the ground. She was afraid that the man would lose his balance after drinking and fall, so she struggled anxiously. Zhang Zhao sensed that this kind of struggle wasn't comfortable at all. He only drank a little and she laughed at him. He didn't even want to do anything now. He just didn't want to sit on that small sofa, but she was already rejecting him? Was the contrast between before and after so big? He knew that her ambition wasn't just to ask him to help her solve her brother's problem. But he never knew that she was in such a hurry. As long as she became his woman openly, she wouldn't have to pretend to be a little white rabbit anymore, right? When he thought of this, the alcohol in his body seemed to have evaporated completely. How did he fall for this silly girl? When he thought of how flustered he was when he misunderstood her car accident, he hated himself for being like this. He hated the woman in front of him even more for using such a method to test his inner feelings. He bent down and pressed down on the woman's body and started to tear off her clothes. "What? Now that you've achieved your goal, you don't want to fulfill your obligations anymore? Even if I have to be intimate with my lover, I want to do it with you. When we're in bed, you can't reject me. Don't you know that you have to pay a price for some things?" Yi Er's heart sank. Sinking. Just as it was about to sink to the bottom, she grabbed the man's shirt and pulled herself up. She was starting to regret it. How did things turn out like this? A few days ago, when they were together, even though he was greedy for her body, he had to pretend to be kind on the surface. When he was with her, there were many times when she could feel that he was still full of desire, but he would also take her feelings into consideration. He would give them something that they liked. Recently, he was not as solemn as before. Occasionally, when he handed her a gift, he would say, "Actually, I don't really know how to choose these things. It's hard to grasp a girl's thoughts. Next time, take a card from my drawer and swipe it. Pick something you like." She felt that there were many styles that did not suit her age, but she always felt that the girl he liked should be like that. She should be proper and wear proper clothes. She should never reveal her small waist or her faintly discernible bosom. Therefore, she always abandoned her 19-year-old body and said that she liked it very much. How did he fall from heaven to hell all of a sudden? Their relationship had just taken a turn for the better. How did she end up like this? She gripped his collar so tightly that her hands turned white. "Ah Zhao, since we're getting married, can't we have a better attitude? I'll do my part. I'll be like before and not cause trouble for you, okay? Isn't it good to live a peaceful life?" When the clothes on her body were torn, it would also pull at her muscles and skin. When the strength was used to tear the clothes, it also transmitted all of his hatred to her body. How long had they been together? She had never seen hatred in his eyes. Even when it was the first time, he was taking revenge on her. Revenge with a desire to conquer her. Now, it was so obvious that he hated her. He hated her. Yi started to fail again. For the first time in her life, she cried twice in one night because of a man. And every time she cried, her heart hurt as though it was being pierced by nails. But the more she cried, the more he resisted his body's reaction. He patiently teased her until he was satisfied when he saw Yi trembling slightly. Then he gritted his teeth and said hoarsely, "See, this isn't just about duty. Actually, you also want to." Jiang Zhao felt that Yi kept crying because she rejected him. Why? Did she suddenly feel that her bitter days were over and that she didn't need to be intimate with him anymore? What kind of dream was she having? She had no feelings for him and didn't love him. If they were in bed, if he couldn't even take care of her, how could he? What are you trying to do? Let's play something more exciting, okay? Yi's intuition told her that this man was going to play something big today. No. I'm a traditional and conservative woman. The man laughed and said, "As a young person of the new era, you have to have innovative ideas all the time, don't you think?" Yi realized that Jiang Zhao was adjusting the position for her and shouted, "No, no, no, I like to stick to the rules." "Yun Yi, are you going to float up into the sky again?" "Ah Zhao, ah Zhao. Call me hubby, don't you know?" Jiang Zhao took a shower and returned to the bed. He covered himself with a thin blanket and looked at the cartoon bedsheets on his body. He nudged Yi, who was already exhausted, and said, "You used this set of bedding for those sexy photos you took last time, right?" Yi turned over. She was suddenly happy that Jiang Zhao was willing to talk to her in such a tone. She took the opportunity to lie on his abdomen. There was a set of abs there and it felt very comfortable to touch. "You still remember?" Jiang Zhao reached out and took the cell phone that was beside the pillow. He then pulled Yi closer into his arms and said, "Let me show you." He went online, opened his email, and downloaded the photos. He opened them one by one for her to see. "This set, right?" "Yeah." Yi swiped her finger across the screen of the cell phone. Those photos that she had deleted a long time ago were all in his email. She couldn't explain what she was feeling. Actually, it was good to keep them. These were all memories. "You didn't delete them?" Jiang Zhao laughed and said, "I forgot. TSK, I told you that you're a little fox. Look at how you're lying on top of me. You're a vixen." Yi looked at Jiang Zhao's warm smile. It was pretty good. Why was she so stupid? She clearly knew what kind of woman he liked, yet she still argued with him and made him lose his temper. If she had gone along with him like before, he would still treat her well. Didn't Manager Wang say that it was too extravagant to be in a relationship with a man? The more you care about it, the more you lose. Because of the sudden change in Jiang Zhao's attitude, Yi slept very well that night. In the morning, Lu Cheng sent Jiang Zhao's clothes over. She changed into them and went to work. Jiang Zhao told her to look for a house and buy a well-renovated one. Someone was living in the apartment in the north of the city, so it couldn't be used as a wedding home. In the future, she couldn't work at Peerless Beauty. She had to look for a profession she liked and then go to school. Yi didn't ask anymore. She had already agreed that he could interact with the people from the old Qing dynasty. Since he wanted to raise a canary in the apartment in the north of the city, she was in no position to interfere. Someone once said that if you don't want a man to cheat, you have to squeeze him to death in bed. He wouldn't have the energy to do it outside. So when she woke up in the morning, she seduced him again. She seduced him once. And seduced him again. It was a success. Yi went out and prepared to look at the real estate that Jiang Zhao mentioned. Marriage depended on business. Perhaps Jiang Zhao would slowly realize that she actually had some good points. Although she did approach him with ulterior motives in the beginning. Now, other than ulterior motives, she really wanted to spend the rest of her life with him. He let her decide on the house, which meant that he didn't completely disregard her. She walked downstairs in her high heels and called Xia Qian. "Qian, yesterday's matter went very smoothly. Thank you. I'll treat you to wedding candy." Xia Qian's tail was wagging. "Yi, you're treating your friend like an outsider. We're doing this for the sake of our next generation to have a good life. I won't say thank you, haha. What do you mean by our next generation? Who's going to have a next generation with you? You're so annoying. Yi Er hung up the phone and stood in the neighborhood waiting for a taxi. It was already past rush hour and there weren't many people on the road, but it was still difficult to get a taxi. Suddenly, a woman behind her called her name. Yun Yi Er. It was Tsang Tingting. When she saw Yi Er turn around, she couldn't help but explode. She actually only found out in the middle of the night that the Jiang and Qin families were already preparing for Jiang Zhao's wedding. Actually, if this matter was reported by the media, many people in Haiqing would definitely know about it. However, there were people in the military who pressured the mainstream media to withdraw their prepared drafts. But this matter couldn't be kept under wraps. They could only get the wedding done before it blew up. Tsang Tingting never imagined that the mantis stalking the cicada would be unaware of the oriole behind it. Yi Er wasn't familiar with Tsang Tingting. All she knew was that she was the daughter of the provincial party secretary. Just as she was wondering how Tsang Tingting knew her, Tsang Tingting raised her hand. Yi Er reacted quickly. If she was slapped in the face in public, wouldn't she be embarrassing Jiang Zhao? She reached out and grabbed Tsang Tingting's hand that was about to fly towards her face. Tsang Tingting wrestled with her hand and shouted to the side. Hurry up and come over here. Splash it on this shameless person's face. When Yi Er heard the word splash, she was shocked. She saw two burly men coming over from both sides. Each of them was holding a bottle in their hands as they strode towards her. She felt deeply uneasy and thought to herself, this is bad. Yi Er was tall to begin with. Now that she was wearing high heels, she was even taller than Tsang Tingting. This made her too big of a target. Luckily, she was a lazy person. She tiptoed and kicked the shoes away. She stood firmly on her bare feet and used all her strength to pull Tsang Tingting's hand to her chest. She firmly held her in front of her as a hostage. She shouted at the two burly men who were already unscrewing the bottle caps at her. It's broad daylight. I don't care what you want to splash. With the daughter of the provincial party secretary accompanying me, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. You better hurry up. If someone sees you, you won't be able to escape. The two burly men who were holding the bottles looked well-mannered. They weren't scared off by Yi Er, but they didn't dare to splash the liquid in their hands. Tsang Tingting wanted to break free, but Yi Er's survival instincts made it impossible for Tsang Tingting to break free. Tsang Tingting, if you move around, you'll probably take up a larger portion of the water that they threw at us. UB*TCH. You're so despicable. How dare you use such a method to force Jiang Zhao to marry you? Yi Er sighed in relief. So it was because of Jiang Zhao. She thought she was running around everywhere to help her father and was being threatened. But it turned out she wasn't. This made things much simpler. Oh, which one of his mistresses are you? Tsang Tingting was confused. Mistress? What did you say? You don't even know this? Then you're definitely not his big mistress. You must be his little mistress. His big mistress is still waiting for me to take over. Tsang Tingting seemed to have a tacit understanding with Yi Er. She casually said, You mean Ouyang Yen? Attention, Xinwu 799. Chapter 488. When Yi Er heard the name Ouyang Yen, he suddenly thought of the name Yun Yun that Jiang Zhao mentioned. However, his eyes were still vigilantly looking at the two burly men holding the unknown liquid in their hands. When he spoke into Tsang Tingting's ear, he was not flustered at all. Instead, there was a cunning and confident arc. Shouldn't you ask them to leave? The traffic here was good. Although it was already past the rush hour, the traffic was still good. If the news that the virtuous daughter of the provincial party committee's secretary poured sulfuric acid on the street spread, it wouldn't be good, right? Tsang Tingting did do that because she was so angry. She never thought that the man she had coveted for so many years would suddenly be taken care of by a woman who appeared out of nowhere. She thought that at most, it was just an Ouyang Yen. There was nothing special about it. So what if they were childhood sweethearts? She and Jiang Zhao were also childhood sweethearts. So what if they were innocent? With Jiang Zhao, she could guess whatever she wanted. It was fine that the person who married Jiang Zhao was an Ouyang Yen. No matter how unhappy she was, she could still balance it out. After all, everyone knew that Jiang Zhao loved Ouyang Yen very much at that time. She had even been imitating Ouyang Yen. Anyway, Jiang Zhao liked her like that. She was especially dignified outside. However, no matter how she imitated Ouyang Yen, Jiang Zhao did not buy her account. Now, the person who came out of nowhere was not the Cheng Yaojin, she thought. The person who came out of nowhere was actually a sinister Cao Cao who had transmigrated to the Tang dynasty. How old was Yun Yi? 19. She was younger than her by 2 years. How could she do such a shameless and sinister thing? Even if she coveted Jiang Zhao, she would still pester him. However, she would not lose face to this extent. Sang Tingting asked the man with the liquid bottle to leave. Yi Er was still very alert to the changes in the surroundings. She was afraid that the other party would come back and attack. Sang Tingting, you usually have a good reputation outside. Don't go all out and harm your father. Sang Tingting thought about it and agreed, but she still wanted to know about Jiang Zhao's big lover. She said indifferently, who hasn't been young and impulsive? Yi Er was quick-witted. When she saw a taxi, she let go of Sang Tingting, put on her shoes, and ran to stop it. She didn't forget to answer Sang Tingting as she ran. I'm younger than you, but I don't dare to say such things. Next time, be careful. I have a task that my husband assigned me to complete. If you want to chat with me, call my husband's cell phone. When Sang Tingting heard what Yi Er said, she was confused. What? This woman with the surname Yun clearly knew that she was going to steal her husband, yet she still asked her to call Jiang Zhao to chat with her? Was he crazy? Was his brain flooded with water? She stomped her feet and chased after him. Hey! Don't go! Yi Er closed the car door and told the driver to leave quickly. If I listen to you, my brain must be flooded with water. Yi Er looked at the houses. After a while, Jiang Zhao received a multimedia message. It was a model of the neighborhood, a floor plan of the house, and a photo of the model house. After he looked at it, he replied, which one do you like? Yi Er said, a room for Si Jie will be fine. Jiang Zhao said, go to 9th mansion. The house in the sky has floor heating and constant temperature. Jiang Zhao felt that in this way, his living space would be bigger and he could live upstairs and downstairs. Otherwise, it would be a little depressing to have another child living in the house. With floor heating, she liked to run around the house barefoot. It wouldn't be cold in the winter. Isn't it expensive? Your husband's money is more than enough to buy the entire 9th mansion. Go. Yi Er replied. Okay. She then set off for the 9th mansion, thinking that she had accidentally found herself a rich and overbearing husband. She had to keep a close eye on him. She had to remind herself that her husband liked obedient maids and obedient Yi Er. Looking at houses was a tiring job. Yi Er didn't have experience in this area, but she was afraid that Jiang Zhao would say that she was stupid. Basically, while looking at the houses, she searched for things to take note of on Google. If it wasn't the direction, then it was the type of house. She had been to the Qin family before. With one look at that kind of house, she knew that feng shui was very important. Therefore, she paid attention to the location of the living room and the bathroom. She often asked direct and straightforward questions. She even used feng shui professional terms. After looking at 2 more houses, Miss didn't dare to fool her anymore. When she reached home at 4 p.m., her legs were so stiff that she couldn't walk. Jiang Zhao's car was parked there. It was very eye-catching. He opened the car door and got in. Seeing Yi Er pounding her legs with her little fists the moment she sat down, Jiang Zhao asked, are you tired today? Yes, a little. It's not very tiring. I think the house today should be good. There's a big lounge on the 2nd floor. I plan to renovate it and turn it into a gym. This way we can exercise together. Is that okay? The man bent over sideways. His large hand caressed the woman's calf. It was warm and very comfortable. He slowly and forcefully massaged her calf. We're going to exercise together and go to the gym? What position do you want to use? Do you have such a strong taste? Ah! Yi Er's face was bitter. If this man wasn't so cheap, he would be even cuter. So annoying. So embarrassing. Let's go to the Qin residence for dinner. After dinner, we'll come back. Actually, he had called her in the afternoon to inform her. He called her phone, but it was probably out of battery. He couldn't get through. You're staying at my place tonight. Aren't you going back to the north of the city? Are you chasing me away?
He had been good to her for less than 20 years.
Was she itching for a beating again? Didn't he want to spend the rest of his life with her?
He clearly knew that there was a woman living in the north of the city.
Why was she asking him to go there?
Yi Er saw that Zhang Zhao's expression was ugly. She waved her hand.
No. Fortunately, I washed your clothes today. You'll have a change of clothes tomorrow.
Zhang Zhao's heart relaxed.
You don't have to worry about the clothes. I brought some over. Tomorrow is Grandpa's birthday. We have to go early in the morning to get the marriage certificate. Moreover, today is the engagement banquet. The Zhang family doesn't have such a rule. As long as it's the wedding, it'll be fine. However, Grandpa disagrees and insisted on holding it. Although it's rushed, everything is taken care of. Moreover, the guests tonight are all relatives and respected elders. We can't be careless. Coincidentally, it's Grandpa's birthday today. A large portion of them arrived in Sea City yesterday, so it's also complete.
So soon?
Yi Er exclaimed. This was too unbelievable.
They were actually getting engaged today.
Only then did she notice that Zhang Zhao's suit was not the one he wore this morning. His tie was also a bright pink.
This young man was so handsome.
Don't you want it to be faster?
No. The faster the better.
A long delay was fraught with problems. Several female supporting characters wanted to get rid of her as the female lead and climb to the top. She couldn't let her guard down. It was said that women in the new era had to be in the hall and kitchen, kill wooden horses and climb over walls, drive a good car and buy a good house, and fight against mistresses and hooligans. She had no problems in the hall and kitchen. She had a good car and a good house, and she had a husband. Although Zhang Zhao had helped her when she was fighting against hooligans, now that she thought about it, this was called husband and wife of one heart. Their strength could cut through metal, right? However, she couldn't ignore fighting against mistresses. She had to treat it seriously. If she failed, everything before could be overturned. Zhang Zhao brought Yi Er to change into the gown. He didn't expect that they were going to Qiu Xiaoya's custom-made shop. Qiu Xiaoya looked at Yi Er with an ambiguous expression. When she saw Zhang Zhao, she turned around and went outside to answer a call. She went over and bumped into Yi Er's butt. Hello, it's settled? It's settled. We'll register our marriage tomorrow and have the engagement party tonight. Speaking of the engagement party, she didn't even invite her friends. Forget it. She would invite them at the wedding another day. Yi Er, you have to give Qian Qian and I a big red packet. We are the ones who contributed the most. You guys just helped because you don't have balls. Don't try to blackmail me. She was so arrogant. I don't have balls. At most, I have nothing to do. If your balls hurt, ask your husband to rub them for you tonight. Oh, you've improved in just a few days.
You even dare to say such small things?
Did the mayor teach you?
You taught me.
While the two of them were talking, Qiu Xiaoya had already picked out Yi Er's gown. Your husband called me this afternoon to tell me about the details. I helped you choose this gown. It has to be dignified.
There are many old people who are very conservative.
It's best if it's an old-fashioned style. It has to be red, not pink, green or other colors. This is the rule over there. The first wife has to wear red. Yi Er thought to herself. First wife? He still wants to marry a second wife in the future? How dare he? When she came out of the fitting room, Zhang Zhao happened to come back. Yi Er's hair was still down and she was wearing a modified cheongsam with 2 layers. She wore a bright red tube top dress on the inside and a cheongsam with peony embroidery on the outside. This way, the bright red color softened a little, making it more suitable for Yi Er. Peony's elegance and luxury was not suitable for a girl of Yi Er's age. But this layer of fabric made her look more playful. Zhang Zhao reached out and held Yi Er's hair in his hand. He pulled it up and fixed it behind her head. He leaned back and looked at her neck and the curve of her jaw. She was so beautiful. This was how it should be. He tilted his head and said to Xiaoya, Xiaoya, get someone to help her tie her hair up. After tying her hair into a bun, putting on earrings, and putting on powder and makeup, she looked 3 to 4 years older. Yi Er looked at herself in the mirror. This was good. If she looked too young, people would think that Jiang Zhao was not mature enough. Jiang Zhao stretched out his hand and lifted the collar of Yi Er's Chong Sam. His slender knuckles rested on her neck, his fingertips stroking the intricate but bright embroidery on the collar.
A warm smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Yi Er thought that he was going to say something touching, but the man raised his hand and flicked her forehead.
Little hussy, you've really grown up. You're becoming more and more pleasing to the eye.
The woman shrank back from the pain and looked at the man who turned around to leave gracefully after committing the crime.
She stomped her feet angrily. Couldn't that be ** change his tone? How infuriating. In the car, Yi Er called Zheng Ling and told her about her wedding. But it was not convenient to invite her friends today. Everyone was from her family, and it was equivalent to meeting her elders. Zheng Ling answered the phone and was overjoyed. She could not blame Yi Er for not telling her beforehand. Mrs. Zheng's ear was pressed against Zheng Ling's phone, and she was very excited. Later, she wanted to snatch the phone and say a few words to Yi Er. Zheng Ling hurriedly said a few words and hung up the phone. He glared at Mrs. Zheng. What? Zheng Ling's mother laughed. Yi Er is about to get married. We should buy a gift for her. Let's go to a jewelry shop and buy a solid piece of gold. We can even spend about 100,000 renminbi on it. Zheng Ling looked at her mother with disdain. Mom, you are so generous. Don't tell me she is marrying Mayor Jiang? Zheng Ling's mother poked Zheng Ling's forehead. You are so vulgar. Yi Er is your benefactor. If she did not give you money to open a photography studio, you will not be able to buy a car and a house. Zheng Ling actually hated to continue this topic in her heart.
If her mother hadn't deliberately said such unpleasant words in front of Yi Er wouldn't have come to find her later on.
Beauty novel, Hong Cha 866. Chapter 489. For example, she had no idea what had happened during this wedding. It was completely different from the past. Yi Er would no longer share her hardships. Although she knew that Yi Er was afraid that she would be put in a difficult position, she still felt sad. Oh Mom, what does this have to do with Yi Er? That's what you earned by scrimping and saving and cooking for my employees. Don't let Yi Er take all of it. She can't afford it. I'm going home. Zheng Ling turned around and left the office after saying that. Mother Zheng saw that Zheng Ling ignored her and scolded angrily. You wretched girl. You're getting more and more stubborn. When Yi Er arrived at the Qin family home, she thought that she had come to the wrong place. It was as if she had traveled back in time to a wealthy family in the Republic of China. The front door was tied with red silk and the hallways and main roads were all hung with red lanterns. Jiang Zhao held her hand. Don't be nervous. I'm here. Yi Er nodded and followed the man's footsteps. She lifted her chin and smiled. She greeted everyone politely. Although she did not speak much, she had the bearing of a lady from a wealthy family. In the living room, carved wooden chairs were neatly placed. None of the respectable elders sat on the sofa. They were all sitting on the hard wooden chairs, which made the young people sitting on the soft sofa look weak. None of the elders wore suits. Some had silver beards and some had white hair. They were all wearing Chinese-style clothes with buttons. At the very least, they were wearing Chinese tunic suits. Their expressions were different, but they all exuded a dignified aura. None of the young women were dressed too extravagantly. They all looked like reserved ladies from wealthy families. After Jiang Zhao's introduction, Yi Er bowed and greeted the elders one by one. The Qin family was a wealthy family. They had their own dining area for the banquet, which was not in the living room in the front yard. Today's engagement party was rushed, but it was not sloppy at all. The chefs hired by the government were all present. The decorations were also done by several wedding companies within a few hours. This might be the soft power that a big family should have. No matter how urgent the matter was, it could be prepared very quickly. There were even more people today than yesterday. Yi Er was completely dumbfounded by the number of people who came. She couldn't even remember their names. She laughed until her mouth was sore. In the end, she only remembered a few surnames. Yi Er had originally chosen a pair of high-heeled shoes, but Jiang Zhao helped her change into a pair of small high-heeled shoes. He said that she would be very tired at night and might have to stand again tomorrow.
Only then did she realize that it was indeed very tiring. She had never sat down on a stool before. She was already starving. She hadn't even finished toasting, and the walls of her intestines were probably glued together by the table after table. Watching others eat, Yi-er had the urge to swallow his saliva. After a round of toasts, he said that he wanted to pay his respects to the elders alone. Because many people didn't come to see City for many years, they didn't have to wait until morning to pay their respects.
Heavens, what kind of rule is this? Is this the old-fashioned society?
No one had taught her the rules of paying respects. The Yun family was a nouveau riche, and she was the daughter of a nouveau riche. She didn't need to pay respects. Jiang Zhao told the two old men to bring Yi-er to his room and tell her the details of paying respects.
She didn't understand.
The two old men nodded in agreement and asked them to go quickly. The moment they returned to Jiang Zhao's room, Yi-er collapsed on the sofa.
Jiang Zhao went out again.
Yi-er pursed her lips bitterly and rubbed her stomach. So pitiful, so pitiful. As the daughter-in-law of a rich family, she had no food to eat.
So pitiful. As the daughter of a rich family, she had rice and face. Only then would she be happy.
A few minutes later, Jiang Zhao entered the room in his suit. He took a bowl and closed the door behind him. He walked in front of her and pulled up his trousers. He slowly squatted down and helped Yi-er up.
Eat some first.
I saw that you were about to faint from hunger outside. Don't starve yourself until you have gastric problems.
Rice with abalone juice. Yi-er was moved to tears. Hubby, you're so nice. You even know to put some rice inside.
Jiang Zhao looked at Yi-er taking big bites and was amused.
Slow down. I'm not going to snatch it from you.
Yi-er hurriedly hid the bowl behind her back and snorted.
Even if you snatch it from me, I won't give it to you. It's mine.
Jiang Zhao reached out and pinched Yi-er's face.
Okay. It's yours. It's yours.
Yi-er picked up the spoon and scooped the rice into her mouth. She wanted to say something but was afraid that she would look bad. She reached out and covered her mouth. Her eyes were curved as she mumbled, "It's delicious. It's really delicious." As she ate, she thought that as long as she was obedient, Jiang Zhao would treat her quite well. Although he didn't love her, he would still treat her like before. He wouldn't make her suffer. He didn't make her drink water to make up for her hunger. He would also think of ways to make the rice taste good. He didn't feel like he was making do with her at all. As Yi-er ate, Jiang Zhao told her that she didn't even have to kneel to greet them anymore. She just had to say some auspicious words to the elders in the family, and appear more obedient. That was about it. The more Jiang Zhao whispered to Yi-er, the more Yi-er felt that she was one step closer to being unable to extricate herself. This was because no matter how she looked at Jiang Zhao, he was a good man. He would have a knot in his heart. His explanation to everyone was the same as what he had said to Shi Zhentian. I'm not in a hurry to be reincarnated, but today is a good day. They say that if I, Zhao Zhao, hold a wedding today, I'll be very lucky. I believe in this, so I might as well do it today. Shi Zhentian was not an unreasonable person. He knew that there were many things that were not convenient to say now, so he just vented his anger. My private jet is at the airport now and can't take off. You have to keep this granddaughter-in-law's tea for me. Qin Rongfeng said readily, of course. I'll make them kneel down and apologize to you. I must sit in the main seat. Shi Zhentian was still in the hotel. After hanging up the phone, he saw Unwu leaning against the big chair and reading a book. He complained, old Qin must have encountered some trouble. How can he be in such a hurry to get a granddaughter-in-law? When the fog disperses tomorrow, I must ask him properly when I get back. Unwu said indifferently, Grandpa, you're worrying too much. We don't have to worry about the Qin family's troubles. We're the ones who are unfamiliar with this place. We were friends in life and death when we were young. How can I not care? But Unwu, you have to get closer to Fian and Zhao Zhao in the future. I'm old, and the world belongs to you young people. We must have a place on the right path. I know, Grandpa, don't worry. Unwu said lightly and continued reading. Yi-er greeted her in a daze. Later, her neck and wrists were covered with gold, and she was so tired that she was about to die. Looking at the 10 or 20 golden bracelets on her wrists and the dozens of golden chains around her neck, Yi heaved a sigh of relief. As expected of the daughter of a nouveau riche.
Look at her, she's too explosive.
The Qin family looked like a large family, but the concept of men being superior to women was still very strong.
It could be seen from the difference between male and female guests.
No matter how old they were, men and women would not eat at the same table. Qin Zhan told Yi that it was only in this kind of situation that it would be so obvious.
Usually, her family did not care about such formalities. Sometimes, no matter how advanced a man's thinking was, he still cared about face.
So in this kind of place, no matter how tired, hungry, or thirsty you were, you had to endure it.
Otherwise, you would lose your family's man's face.
Yi listened to Qin Zhen's teachings and knew that they were kind words. If her mother-in-law really did not like her, she would not have said these things to her. She nodded obediently and said, "Mother, I understand." She did not dare to ask too much, afraid that if she asked something wrong, she would be laughed at. She wanted to ask Zhang Zhao if she could take some jewelry down first. These jewelry were too solid, and her neck was about to break.
Even if she could not take it down, she could still complain to him. However, she did not see Zhang Zhao anywhere.
Yi wanted to go outside the restaurant to take a look. As soon as she reached the entrance, she heard the servants discussing, "Young Master Zhao is about to get married."
Even if he liked Miss from the family Ouyang, that is already in the past. Miss Yen should pay more attention.
Who said that? Didn't you hear how Miss Yen cried in front of Master yesterday? She even said that Miss from the Yun family forced young Master Zhao to marry her.
Women these days are really fierce.
The new daughter-in-law is only 19 years old, but her thoughts are too deep.
Yes, young Master Zhao has never met a woman like this. Add. Song Shu 566. Chapter 490.
Young Master Zhao should find someone as dignified as Miss Yen. Young Master Fian, on the other hand, should find a woman to force himself on. Sigh, if it weren't for the fact that young Master Zhao would find out later, I really want to listen to what Miss Yen is saying in young Master Zhao's arms in the backyard. You wish.
As a servant, you have to be more careful.
Yi closed her eyes and clenched her fists to breathe.
Her mother-in-law said that no matter how tired, hungry, or thirsty she was, she had to endure it. But her mother-in-law didn't say what she should do if her heart ached. She could fight against a mistress or a hooligan. She couldn't just let it go like this, right? She turned around and asked the servant for directions to the backyard. The flower rack in the left corner of the backyard was very tall and wide. It was a mix of wisteria and roses. At this time, the roses were blooming beautifully and the fragrance was faint. Under the flower rack, Zhang Zhao patted Ouyang Yan's back and comforted her. "Yan Yan, don't cry. If you don't have anything to say, I'll go back first. Your sister-in-law is still young and the Qin family has more rules than the Yun family. She doesn't know anything and will cause trouble later." When Ouyang Yan heard Zhang Zhao directly change Yun Ye's name to sister-in-law, she cried even harder. She hugged the man's waist even tighter. "Second brother, you said that you would wait for me to come back. You've always been waiting for me. Second brother, you're a man of your words. How can you marry another woman? I'm already back. How can you marry another woman?" Ouyang Yan sobbed uncontrollably. She never knew that Zhang Zhao would go back on his words. She had been the moon surrounded by stars in her life. Everyone knew that Zhang Zhao liked her. Even when she broke up with him and wanted to leave High City, he said that he would wait for her. How did he become someone else's husband just like that? Zhang Zhao sighed. Just as he was about to speak, Yi-er's voice rang out. "Hubby, Mom said that she wants us to send the guests off together. Let's go over together." Zhang Zhao suddenly pushed Ouyang Yan away, but he didn't know how strong he was. Ouyang Yan staggered back a few steps and held on to a pillar to steady himself. The man looked at Yi-er, who was standing at the entrance of the backyard. How long had it been since he last saw her? She was dressed in gold and was covered in gold chains. She looked tacky and cute at the same time. He strode towards her. Ouyang Yan bit her lips and watched the man leave, but she could not stop him. Yi-er watched as Zhang Zhao walked over. He was still so handsome and radiant, unlike her who was in such a sorry state.
slowly loosening her clenched fists, her eyes curved into crescents, and a bright smile hung on her face. She really couldn't pretend that she didn't see anything. She could only pretend that nothing had happened. Yi Er's smile was too genuine. In Jiang Zhao's eyes, it was jarring. This woman really didn't care about him. She had clearly seen it, but she could still smile so nonchalantly. He thought that no matter what, he should still explain the process of this matter to her. They were now husband and wife. Just as he walked to the door, Yi Er went forward and grabbed his arm. Without looking at Ouyang Yen, she pulled him and turned him around. She grumbled, "You don't know. When Mom said that she wanted to send the guests off, I was dizzy. She also said that some of the guests would be staying in the backyard tonight. I can only go to sleep after all these people are settled. But I'm so sleepy now. Also, I'm carrying so many things on me. It's killing me. It's so heavy. Can you take some of them off?" With every sentence that Yi Er said, she was thinking about the woman behind her. When she was joking, she felt as if her heart was being tugged at by someone. Jiang Zhao was completely dispirited. Once again, it proved the meaning of her words, "There are no feelings between us." Not only did she not need to explain, she would not even be jealous. Even if she saw that her husband had another person in his arms, she could still pretend that she didn't see anything. He couldn't help but wonder if she was heartless. But as arrogant as he was, she didn't even care about him. Should he still think that it was unrequited love and care about her feelings that she didn't need? With a wife like this, there was really nothing he could do. Who asked that phone call to see through his thoughts? You can't take them off. These are the blessings from the elders. It's inauspicious to take them off. Yi Er nodded. Oh, she would just be superstitious this time. Yi Er's superstition resulted in her wearing this pile of gold to sleep. Even after midnight, she refused to take them off. Jiang Zhao wanted to be intimate with her and wanted to take them off for her. Yi Er exploded. She stood on the bed and made a fighting pose. She glared at Jiang Zhao as if she was looking at a bandit. Mine, mine. They're all mine. Don't touch them. Jiang Zhao found Yi Er's behavior amusing. This wife was pretty good. Sometimes, she even made him quite happy. She was still young and probably didn't know what love was. Be good. Take them off. I'll give you a box of gold bars another day. No, I'm not taking them off. When Yi saw that Jiang Zhao was about to stand up, she knew that he was going to use force. She immediately sat down, stretched her legs, raised her head, and burst into tears. Wah! Jiang Zhao was dumbfounded. He quickly sat down and hugged the woman. All right. They're yours. Don't take them off, okay? Didn't I say that you'd be tired? These are all yours. Why are you so hateful so bad? Why do you only know how to bully me? You're racking your brains to hurt me. Sob, sob, sob. Yi Er was really sad. She was so sad that she kept twitching. This man clearly knew these taboos, yet he still did it. He definitely wanted to break up with her and marry that Yun Yun. Jiang Zhao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This woman was really possessed. She was actually so superstitious. When had he ever thought of hurting her? He wanted to accuse her. It's already past midnight. It's fine. It won't be inauspicious anymore. Really? Yi immediately stopped crying, but Jiang Zhao laughed. Yunyi, can you be a little more despicable? Can you act a little more realistically? If I act better, are you going to push me into the entertainment industry? Yi Er wiped the tears from her face. Then she pretended that she hadn't cried. As she spoke, she took off the bracelet and necklace. Dream on. Yi Er looked at the small mountain of gold in front of her and said happily, All right, then I won't dream on. Jiang Zhao hugged her and kissed her. All right, then let's take a shower and make love. But hubby, I'm so tired today. But wifey, I'm always the one doing the work. Early the next morning, Jiang Zhao took Yi Er to the Civil Affairs Bureau. The marriage certificate had to be obtained and no one could say anything about it. It wasn't troublesome at all. In fact, it was quite cheap. 2 red booklets cost $9 and a quick photo was $40. Yi Er was unhappy. Why is the photo so much more expensive than the marriage certificate?
It's so many times more expensive. Jiang Zhao thought. Did this woman have to ask such an idiotic question? It was obvious that she wanted to get some money out of it. The cost of the photo was regulated and there was no limit to the photo. Didn't she understand this? Because the photo can prove that it's your marriage certificate. If you just take out the name, people won't be able to tell if it's real or fake. But with the photo, it'll be obvious at a glance.
Yi Er nodded and said with certainty, "Yes, this money is really well spent.
It's really worth it." Jiang Zhao sighed in satisfaction. This girl. And Yu and Shi Zhan finally returned to High City after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Shi Zhantian had been feeling unhappy. He had missed his old friend's granddaughter-in-law's engagement banquet, and today, he had almost missed his old friend's birthday banquet. What kind of lousy weather is this? Shi Zhantian sat in the car and couldn't help but spit. Unwu leaned against the car door and looked out the window. The corners of his mouth turned up. Grandpa, actually, we could have taken the high-speed train yesterday. It would have only taken a few hours. Shi Zhantian's head seemed to have been pinched by someone.
His face turned red and his voice rose in anger.
Why didn't you say so earlier? Unwu shrugged nonchalantly. His clear eyes were unexpectedly smiling. Haha, I like to see you scold when you're angry. It's really interesting. It's more like the real you. Shi Zhantian looked at his grandson's happy face and couldn't get angry even if he wanted to. You little brat. Unwu and Shi Zhantian went back to the Shi residence first. They had to change into formal wear before going out. Unwu changed into a gentleman's shirt and suit.
The lapel on his chest was an elegant purple.
The navy blue suit made the originally quiet and beautiful boy look even more spirited. Unwu walked to the front garden to wait for his grandfather. He looked up at the sky. It seemed like it would rain in a few days. The clouds were a little dark. Shi Zhantian had just walked to Yunwa's side when his phone rang. He picked up and it was Qin Rongfang's voice. Old man, when are you going to delay until? Are you going to wait a few days for them to return to Jiang district for the banquet? Shi Zhantian said, I'm here. I'll rush over before you reincarnate. Unwu had never met so many old people. They were saying, old man, rushing to reincarnate, and cursing at each other with such inauspicious words, but they were not angry at all. Instead, they were so happy. Qin Rongfang said, hurry up, or my granddaughter-in-law won't offer you any tea. Old Jiang said you're not allowed to come. How dare he? I'll send you a picture of my grandson and granddaughter-in-law. They're a match made in heaven. Let me tell you, their children will definitely be the best looking. Qin Rongfang hung up after showing off. Just 10 seconds after hanging up, Shi Zhantian received an MMS message. He opened it and saw the woman wearing a fashionable cheongsam. Her slender white arms were wrapped around the man's arm, and her head was leaning on the man's shoulder. She was smiling very sweetly. The handsome and tall man's large hand was wrapped around the woman's small hand that was wrapped around his arm. Her smile was charming. They're really a match made in heaven. Unwu, look, you have to find a granddaughter-in-law for Grandpa in the future. She's so beautiful. I can't lose to old man Qin. Unwu nodded perfunctorily. He glanced at it lightly and considered his task completed. Suddenly, a white light flashed in his mind. He snatched Shi Zhantian's phone and enlarged the picture on the screen. The air in his ears stagnated, and there was the sound of falling leaves. He could not accept such a fact. He could not accept it. She had abandoned him and married someone else? No, it was an engagement. It was just an engagement. He could not let her marry Jiang Zhao. No. He had been waiting for her on Wutong Street for more than a year. It was all because she had broken into his world that he had become an artist for her for more than a year. How could she do this? Grandpa, what's her name? Perhaps there were people who looked so similar in this world. Moreover, the woman in the photo looked older than her and was much more beautiful. He had never seen her put on makeup, so this person shouldn't be her. Old Qin told me yesterday that her name is Yun Yi. This name is really convenient. Shi Zhantian laughed. Unwu felt a little annoyed. He reached out to unbutton his suit and returned the phone to Shi Zhantian. His voice was as soft as usual, but he seemed a little impatient.
Grandpa, I want her.
Beauty novel, Shinwoo 799. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.